We have one matter that we want to take up today, and that is the order under Section 22 of the Foreign Exchange Act, number 12 of 2017, the Gazette 2467/67, dated 18 December 2025. Before we start, would you kindly introduce yourselves for the record?
Good afternoon, Chair and the committee. I'm Chaminda Bandara, Assistant Governor. I oversee the Foreign Exchange Department.
Sudat Prasanna, Director Foreign Exchange Department.
Deputy Director for Next Department.
Aishani Aberatna, Director General, Department of Trade and Investment Policy.
No, this is presented by who? Who is presenting this legislative amendment to Parliament?
We presented
Who are we?
Department Trade and Investment Policy, that is Treasury,
Yeah.
because Central Bank submitted through the Department of Trade and
You
Investment
are
Policy.
sorry. I was concentrating on something else. What is your designation at the Treasury?
Director General, Department of Trade and Investment Policy.
Just 1 minute. Generally, we don't undertake any discussion unless a DST is here. That is our existing practice. But it was my mistake yesterday because my secretary asked me, should we just keep it to the Director General of the Treasury? And I said, okay. It was my error. Usually we have to have a DST, right?
Yes.
So because I made the mistake, I don't want to penalize you, but we will go ahead. But as a practice, don't ask me. Yeah.
Secretary Treasury that needs to be here, if not, is appointed officer.
No, it is a Secretary Treasury that has
Yeah,
to
so
normally come, but in this committee, given the workload of the Secretary Treasury,
Yeah, but other secretaries have been here.
yeah, but then these people come almost every week, right? And therefore, we have said that we need to have at least one DST. There are 3 DSTs at the Treasury, and that is the practice we have we have implemented. If it is a case that we need to have the Secretary Treasury, certainly he will have to be here. But general understanding between the Treasury and the committee is that a DST must be present. But I made a mistake, so I don't want to penalize you. So, but hereafter, it has to be, it need not be broken, right, this practice. Yeah, so who is presenting it? Treasury is presenting it.
No, the Central Bank will be presenting it.
No, but this is the Treasury. So this is the issue, no? The issue is the Central Bank communicates to Parliament through the Treasury. This is, the Honourable Member has been questioning this right throughout. Right? Because you are not represented in the House. Right? You come through the Secretary Treasury. Right? The Secretary Treasury has no role in Central Bank decisions. Okay? So therefore, the question is, where is this connection? Right? And that is a longer debate and a more sort of a policy debate that we are going to have, and we will have that. But there is a disconnect between the Central Bank and the Treasury in any piece of legislation or any update or any report that comes to Parliament. So anyway, that's that we don't want to delay this is a regular thing that we will get through it, but we will address that subsequently. Yes, go ahead.
Honorable Chairman, as we have already communicated previously, this of course, this order issued under the Section 22 of the Foreign Exchange Act. It's a continuation of the order issued previously. And in fact, in this order, so the previous order, if you compare with this and the previous one, the only difference that we can see, only the item 3 and the item 4 of the Gazette notification, as you can see, sir, there we have allowed increased the limit on outward remittance of capital transaction through business foreign currency accounts. Previously, it was around $200,000. Now, with this order, we have increased up to 500,000. So that is the one of the change that we can see in this present order. And this is basically to facilitate the expansion of the business expansion, purpose of business expansion of these people who are having the basically business foreign currency accounts, who are foreign exchange earners, more precisely exporters of goods and services. And the second, so this is for the order period. Basically, this is issued for 6 months.
Extendable by another 6 months, altogether 12 months maximum.
So a limited company,
Yep.
if required, over 750,000 or something like that, can send 500,000 per 6 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a million a year.
Out of their funds in
Out
the
of
business
their
foreign
own
currency.
secured funds.
Yeah.
But sir, but not 1 million per year, sir, since the regulatory requirement to have this order only for 6 months, but usually we extend another 6 months. So altogether 1 year, yes. For 1 year,
but these are, it has to be specific, no, if your period is 6 months,
Yeah.
if a company wants to do 2 transactions a year, that's legally permitted. We are better come back, otherwise today's situation is so fluid that nobody knows what the real law is.
So whoever who make the 500,000 here, basically what we have done is that basically for this is given for 6 month period order, so it can be extended by another 6 months. But even if we extended by 6 months, if we had someone who had already enjoyed or utilized the 500,000, will not be allowed to make the 500,000 again with the subsequent 6 months.
Besides companies that can make specific applications, central bank can get dispensation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if Haley
Generally, free flow.
free flow
500.
is this.
Yes,
Free flow
That is 500 for the year. That's what the ministry.
Yeah, 500 for the year,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I'm saying. This Gazette comes 6 months in.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't irrelevant
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that within a year you can send out 500,000
Out
Practically,
of
yes.
this business foreign currency
Yeah.
funds in the business.
without
Out of
any
his own-
approval.
Out of his own developed
Yeah.
Yes.
funds, you can do it twice a year.
No.
No, no.
Once a year.
Where does this to be? This says 6 months, I saw somewhere down the
Yeah.
line.
No,
6
that
months,
is
yeah.
the Gazette. Gazette is for 6 months, but they are quantifying the amount to be remitted per annum.
එහෙම එකක් නෑ.
නැද්ද?
නෑ because if you
No, sir. Now, in terms of the section 22 of the Foreign Exchange Act, we can issue a
What
order.
act?
Sir,
what act
section 22 of the Foreign Exchange Act.
of the
Section 22 of the Foreign Exchange Act.
foreign exchange act, get
Yeah.
the foreign exchange act,
Under that
section
provision
22.
also we issue the order. So that can be maximum up to 6 months, but extendable for another 6 months maximum.
No, the question is in your gazette,
Yeah.
it does not say that this is for 6 months. It just says this is the limit.
No, sir.
Per
It is,
event
yeah.
or not, it is not specific.
So if you look at the last page, sir,
Yes.
Per annum, whether is it once a year or whether twice a year?
no, not per transaction, aggregate amount per company.
Aggregate per which period?
This order valid for 6 months.
No, I think we are not answering.
Wait,
So
section
order is
22.
6. Huh?
Section 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at the last page, sir, this order is valid for period of 6 months from 20th December 2025.
Right.
So it says this order valid for 6 months.
Yeah.
There's a provision for extending another 6 months maximum. So altogether it will be maximum 12 months.
So one company, if they have exhausted their limit in the first 6 months, they can't go
They
for
can't,
another.
yes, they
That's
Right,
why you are
okay.
asking, so then it's limited to a year.
Yes.
That's why I'm asking. So the chairman is asking at which document it says this 500,000 cap is for a year.
Oh, that is why I can't say, because as per the provision, we can issue an order for only for 6 month period. So that is what we did.
You're talking with the Solidarity Act
Yes.
12 of 217,
Yes.
and in that you're talking Article 22,
Yeah.
which is preservation of financial stability.
Yeah.
In 1, 2 or 3, what you're referring, there is no time.
No, it's in 3. What it says is this: Minister may, with the approval of Parliament,
Yeah.
by order published in the Gazette, extend from time to time the period of validity of an order made under subsection 1. This is the subsection 1, right?
Yes.
So you are extending it, okay? However, that the period of such extension shall not in the aggregate exceed 12 months.
Yes.
So, you're extending an order. When was the order originally published?
New order, we issued only for 6 months, as you rightly said. So,
But, one
No, that-
minute, but it says shall not be in the aggregate exceed 12 months.
Yes.
What does that mean?
it means now, but for instance, we see what particular existing order has been issued for 6 months. Now, if you want to extend this particular order again, so it can be only extendable only by another 6 months.
Right. So,
For
what
the
are you-
order.
Yeah. The same order.
The same order.
Same order.
So, this is not the same order.
No, this is going to be a kind
New
of a
order.
different order from the previous one, since we have made a change in the
Volume.
yeah,
Amount. Yeah.
amount.
Threshold.
So let me make it very easy, right?
Yeah.
So we had an order from December,
June. Yeah. Yes. Sir.
June 2018
Yeah.
to December 19.
Yes.
Then we had another order from December 19 to June, right? So say with taking this thing, some organization remitted what was possible in October. Say that was 250,000. Now we are putting a new order in January, right? So this February he sends another 500. Now we are asking whether that is possible.
So we have
It's a
a
bridging clause in
particular
the-
clause in the item number 3 of the Gazette. It says that any eligible resident person who has already made outward remittances under paragraph.
Last paragraph of the third page. Sir. Last paragraph of the third page of the Gazette.
I'm referring to the third
Gazette.
page of the Gazette, sir.
Yeah.
Last paragraph. It's a bridging condition, sir.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. We make it continuous the thresholds.
Can you read it again, please?
Item 3 of the
Any eligible resident person
yeah, that's right, sir.
who made outward remittances under paragraph blah blah of the first paragraph of the order published
June 1.
under 18 June 2025 shall be permitted to make outward remittance under this order provided that the cumulative sum of such outward remittance under both the aforesaid order and this order does not exceed maximum limit specified in this order.
Yes.
That's
So
correct.
that's annum.
That's right.
Within 12 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Already
Because
absorbed.
you can only extend once,
Yes.
and during that extension the cumulative can be
So
what is in
complex.
the order.
Yeah, that's why we put this bridging condition, sir.
Yeah, but then what Honorable Minister is asking is different. What he is asking is, your maximum was 200,000, no? In the previous order?
Previous 200.
This is a new order.
Mm.
So last, say December, he remitted 200,000.
December 20th, after the order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Right?
we are having a new one.
Now, this month he can remit another 500,000.
Not 500,000.
Why?
No, 200 plus 300 to altogether 500.
That's the thing I am asking.
Yeah.
That,
It's
is
very clear,
that
sir.
is a confusion.
No,
here.
sir. In the last line of the third page,
Yeah.
not exceeded the maximum limit specified in this order.
Yeah, this order.
That is 500,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you can transfer 500,000.
No. So both together.
Then how do you say 6 months?
No,
What's the time period?
No, no.
What's the tenure that you are using this regulation?
Tenure is 20th December 2025 to 20th December 2026. So if on the 19th of December 2025,
Right.
because this is dated 20th December 2025, no?
Yes, but
Right.
it's only for another 6 months.
No, yeah. So 6 months, and if they continue with this, another 6 months, no?
Yes.
Maximum will be 20th December
That's why 1 billion
2026.
can be sent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Why
if,
do you want to be so vague? Why can't you be specific?
No,
You
sir.
only give jobs to the lawyers, you give for practical.
no, let me please answer my question. So if somebody remitted 200,000 on the 19th of December,
And 19 means this order.
previous order, no,
Previous
not
order.
this order,
Yeah, previous order. Yeah.
previous order, right? Only 200,000 was possible.
Yes.
Now today that person can remit another 500,000.
No, sir, another 300,000.
Why?
So it's very clear, it says,
Yeah,
provided that
cumulative for the order, no?
cumulative for this
two
order.
orders.
This order means
No,
500,000.
but this is a new order, no?
No, sir. That is why we put this bridging condition under the paragraph 3 of the page 3,
Ah,
provided that the cumulative sum
because
of-
18 June 2025 order.
Yes. So they can't exceed the cumulative amount of 500,000.
But only the amount has been changed.
Yeah, so you are referring
Yeah,
to the 18 June 2025 order.
Previous one, yes.
Okay.
So next time, the can't you be more specific by saying per annum? It's very confusing.
Only thing, as mentioned director already,
In this order.
the act provided us to issue
Yeah, so
only for 6
at
months
least
period.
created by you all, the next time you're doing,
No,
make it more simple.
unless they change
Say
this.
for the year it is this amount. It can be extended every 6 months. That's not issue. But ensure it is per calendar year.
Things once we issue,
yeah.
say
No.
18th June, that's only.
Yeah, but that is your prerogative, no?
Yeah.
You determine which one. Now you have said 18 June 2025.
Immediate previous one. Immediate previous
You
one.
said it,
Yeah.
right? Now, because then 18 June 2026, this ends.
Yes, we'll fresh one.
Yeah. Then when in July, can he remit another 500,000?
Yes, if there's no change, yes.
If there is no change, he can remit 500,000 in July.
Yeah, if provided that we issue the same order in next June.
Yes.
Yes, 500,000 was
That's 1 billion.
as a fresh one. Yes,
You can't
No,
continue
there's only
that year.
that's right. Yes.
So here he can do 200,000. He can do another 300,000 today,
Altogether 500,000.
and then another 500,000 in July.
That's
Yeah,
8
after June. Yes.
This year, next year it will be 1 billion. Because now the 200 is over. Now continuing to will go upwards. So that's how it is. Anyway, just want to get a clarification on, what the company's side, what can we tell, like what would they understand from the Gazette?
Oh, so usually this orders from
Yeah,
June,
no, you
like
are
June
wrong.
to June. June to
You are
June.
wrong, no. You can't remit another 500,000 in July.
Possible.
How?
Yes, sir. Now,
Because you're linking this to the June one, no.
that's right.
So in July, you will link it to this one.
No, sir.
No.
Because we never linked more than 12 months time.
That's why tenure is
Virtually
they are maintaining 12 months,
Yeah, virtually, sir, the cycle is June to June, right?
June to June.
Yeah. So it
It
won't-
started through June.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but then that messes up with corporate calendars, no?
Yeah, that's-
Corporate financial years are April to March
Or Jan to December.
or Jan to December. So why do you put something in the middle?
The same reason, sir, we first issued
Started
the order. Yes.
Started
Yeah, so,
and-
but you could have
Don't
invested.
access 6 months. No. When you started from that day to 6 months, it's going. If they
Yeah,
started in
that's
April, it would have been April,
Silly, no?
October.
So, I mean, why don't you, I don't know, I'm just saying.
No,
Why
it-
don't you synchronize it with the corporate calendar?
Yeah.
It
Just
makes a
think
lot of
about
sense.
it. I think it's easier. No?
Yeah.
So
Huh?
anyway, we'll have to issue a extend or in the existing order, extend or issue a new order before the expiry of the existing
So
one.
we are saying, yes, please, go ahead.
Honorable Chair, aligning it, but this order was initially issued for whole heap of other reasons due to the prevailing economic conditions. So the timing was relevant to that particular context when we initially issued it.
Yeah,
Then
Assistant Governor, but
continued.
that context has now changed, no?
Yeah. Can I ask something, Chair, with your permission?
Yes,
now,
please.
before these restrictions, what was there any restrictions or was it free?
Business foreign currency accounts, there had been no restriction on the remittance for capital transaction out of the funds in the BFCA. It was just, stopped only with effect from the issuance of this order.
Right. So that is due to the criteria, we limited it. Now we are slowly. So what criteria will tell us when can we go back to the previous? Now when our reserves are high, or who's going to tell whether it's central bank is going to decide? What's the underlying criteria to say at which point Sri Lanka will be again having a free flow business account, because that's very important
That's
for
right.
investors.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very clear. Now, in fact, when it was first issued in 2020 and up until 2023, the business foreign people who are holding the business foreign currency accounts were not permitted to make remittance for out capital transaction. But the easing cycle started since 2023 June. And there we started with the 100,000, and then by a subsequent order it was increased to 200,000, and now by this particular order we are going to increase it for 100,000. This is particularly in view, due consideration to the foreign exchange earners, particularly exporters, those who have exchanged their foreign exchange currency deposits, who wanted to use this money for their business expansion overseas. So going forward, what we will see that, as you said, that the economic conditions has been improved compared to what was there before. And we have clearly identified a phase-out plan as to further relaxation of this BFCA. I think according to the plan, within next 2 years of time, depending on the then circumstances, we don't know. If it is the market conditions are conducive and the market conditions are supportive for our decisions, we will be able to even go for a complete relaxation of this BFCA funds remittances, because it had been there in the inception that there had been no restrictions.
Agree. So my question again comes, when we say business conditions are good, it's a kind of a vague thing, right? Say I am an investor who's thinking to invest in Sri Lanka. Now my expectation is that within 2 to 3 years, these conditions will go off. Say that is my assumption. So for me to know what thresholds should Sri Lanka reach so that I can predict my decision. So I am thinking of Thailand and Sri Lanka, right? So in Thailand or Malaysia, there is no restrictions like what we had earlier. Now Sri Lanka has a restriction. Now I need to plan my next 5 years of investments, inflow, outflow, foreign currency, all that. So, but I am not in a position to decide at which point of Sri Lankan stability, which point of Sri Lankan reserves, Sri Lankan currency stability. How do we define that? Because we generally say today is stable, tomorrow it can be much better. But there should be a way for an investor to foresee it's going to happen. Or we can think, okay, going forward, Sri Lanka will continue to have this restriction. Therefore, I am ignoring that and investing in Sri Lanka. Other way is that I am seeing Sri Lanka is doing good, that I can assume this restriction will go off within 2 years.
Okay, Honorable Member. Now, in fact, if you can just see the Section 5 of the Foreign Exchange Act, it says that the funds in the foreign currency account can be remitted for any current or capital transaction. So that's the assurance given by the Act itself. But at the same time, Section 22, what it says, that at the time of any sort of a crisis situation, notwithstanding anything, whatever in the Section 5, Minister, with the approval of the Cabinet, can take a decision to suspend whatever the liberalized condition in due consideration to the ongoing economic crisis, whatever. So that's what exactly we did, Minister did, in terms of issuing this order.
100% in agreement.
Yes.
But
So
what I'm asking is, when I make a decision for invest in Sri Lanka today, how do I know at what point of Sri Lanka will have a, obviously any point the minister can do that.
Foreigner doesn't have a problem. It is a local guy that goes out has the problem.
Yeah.
So foreign guy, assuming a Thai guy comes here, he'll come under BOI or some protective one, that doesn't apply.
Yeah.
This is only for a Sri Lankan company. That is
Sorry, maybe I'll correct myself.
Yeah.
Even a
Correct.
Sri Lankan company, we have few Sri Lankan conglomerates now investing in other countries. So they have to plan their cash flows out. Without that, they will not take a decision. So for them to take a decision.
In fact, Honorable Member, this is a kind of the option that we have given for them, for those who are basically exporters. But nevertheless, this company even can make investment outside the country out of a foreign loan raised from abroad, or whatever the equity that he received in the shares of his existing company in Sri Lanka, which can be used for overseas investment. So that perhaps even he can even go beyond the whatever the regulation permitted. Maybe more than 2 million on case by case basis. So this order has given that assurance, particularly that whoever who wants to plan a particular investment, he has some more option to do so. Not merely depending on the funds in the BFCA, he has several other options.
But
Several other options.
For
sorry.
him to carry that through, his balance sheet has to be very strong here, or he must be siphoned on money there to get it. Otherwise, what's the leverage that he can borrow foreign without a strong balance sheet?
Let me rephrase this. The ones who are handling such in accounts, their concern is when do we get a free decision
Liberty to do it.
to do it. So I mean, I know we can't answer it now, but this is how we are going to go, right?
Yes, Honorable.
Okay.
Now, one other thing, you said it's not foreign currency that is accumulated by the company. Any company that has a threshold of 750 million can convert it into dollars, right? You don't need to be dabbling in dollars to send dollars out.
No, this is BFC funds means something in addition to the permitted 750,000 limit. That someone who wants to make the investment outside the country, that company being a listed company, he can go up to the
It doesn't necessarily
750,000.
got to be from foreign exchange. It can be Sri Lankan company that you can convert
Yeah,
500,000
yeah,
dollars.
that.
You said out of foreign dollars. So that's not the case.
This particular limit from this applicable to foreign accounts.
Right now, this 2017 Act replaces the vicious exchange control previously. No? That was what IMF wanted at that time. Now, with this, do you find that any of them, Sri Lankans, have misused where the funds are kept overseas instead of bringing it back? Earlier it was mandated, then it was option. Do you find where the monies are being kept out with the central banks, the commercial banks that monitor it?
In fact, with regard to the exports, of course, we have this particular rule issued under the Central Bank Act. It is mandatory that people, exporters, they have to bring their money within 180 days. So, in due consideration to the problem that you highlight, sir, that we introduce a system, computerized system, connecting the Sri Lankan customs, central bank and commercial banks and also exporters to monitor whether they will comply with this rule issued under the Central Bank Act. So we are continuously monitoring.
So
No,
my
the question
is
you
not
did
about
answer,
that.
no?
My question was whether monies are being kept out. You can theorize, but is it practically money is going out and not coming in?
So now we, based on the source document is CASDEX, so that we can check whether the money referring to any particular corresponding CASDEX has been received or not. The system reflects that the money is outstanding, means money has not come. So then we can follow up with the particular exporter, asking the reason for not bringing the money. So that facility and is there in the present system.
So in your 3-year tenure, which has this fairly highlighted and concentrated thing with the foreign exchange coming or not, do you find money is not coming in still?
I mean, in cases when we find that the money has not come to within 180 days, we can inquire.
You're not answering my question.
Sorry, sir.
As central bank, the apex body, which through your banks, are you finding that there is a colossal amount of money still being kept out instead of being brought in? Do you find, the funds are being kept out?
Like that.
Because we see various people get up and say $30 billion are out of the country. Now that means must be substantiated, no? So you all, the central bank, the commercial banks are the ones that monitor it. Is it right or wrong?
In fact, sir, of course, we can't just see that whether the people are holding the money outside the country, but what we are seeing is that, if it is something related to export, now we have developed a mechanism to monitor whether they are repatriating funds to the country. But if they had repatriated money before...
No, I'm asking only now.
Yeah, before 2000...
The last 23 onwards?
Yeah, in fact, 23 onwards,
Yeah.
okay? 23 onwards, because the rule is existing, and also which requires all the exporters to bring the money. If they have not brought the money to the country as required by the rule, of course we are in a position to see, whether they have complied or not.
So
is
then
it being complied or not?
penalization or something?
Sorry?
You penalize?
In fact, this particular rule has been issued under Central Bank Act. Then what we have to do is, then we'll have to take action in terms of the provisions under the Central Bank Act.
Now, have you taken any action under the central bank's provision?
There have been instances of such.
What so far we have done is that we shortlist the people who have not brought the money, then we follow it up. And as far as all the cases that we have followed that, we have asked them to give reasons. And at the same time, if it is not acceptable, what we normally call them for the department, and we conduct the meetings and all. And in my experience, I have seen that there are a lot of reasons as to why some people have not brought. There are a lot of reasons. Sometimes those reasons are beyond the control of the exporter. Maybe dispute between the exporter and the supplier, and also sometimes due to the quality deficiency issues, and also sometimes problems in their destination
We are
countries.
asking
So and
not
so.
individual matters. Has there been a significant issue or not?
No significant issues.
significant issue.
Yeah.
There is no
Right.
significant.
Not
No
really.
significant. Between 2017 and 2023,
Sir, now in fact, if you can just refer it to in the section 5 of the Central Bank Foreign Exchange Act, the funds in the BFC account where the export used to bring in money, keep the money, so that could be used for any capital and current transactions.
No, the question is whether
Sorry, what
the
is BFC?
export,
business fund.
export remittances are coming in. No? I think the question was, now we understood, Ravi very well know this. 2017 we opened it up, there was no monitoring mechanism. Now 23 we have brought it in. So what you are saying is, since then there's a detailed analysis of it, and you kind of inquire them to see the reasonability. I have one more question, Chair. Now,
So just 1 minute.
Yeah.
But my question was, between 17 and 23, was there any monitoring at all?
In fact, someone who wants to remit money for overseas investment, this particular OIA mechanism was there. So in terms of the OIA mechanism,
What is OIA?
the outward investment account,
Okay.
someone who has taken money outside for investment purposes should have brought the money through the same channel on retirement of their investment, or whenever they get the proceeds of the return
But
of
OIA
investment.
for a foreign person who brings money can take it out the same way, no?
That is a different inward investment account. That is exactly the opposite of it. So someone, if they have taken the money outside the country, in terms of the regulation issued, they should bring the money into the country whenever they are retiring whatever the investment, or whether they get the capital on their investment, return on investment. So that mechanism has been there. They were supposed to submit all the financial accounts of each and every year in terms of our regulations. So this is about what we were basically concentrating on, not there are any particular conversion involved. The money would have originally gone from the business foreign currency account, because the exporters, they bring in the money to the BFC account, being their export proceeds. So before 2020, from 2017 onwards, in terms of that, the money in the BFC account could be used for their all current and capital transaction. They didn't want to get our permission, but that itself had granted the permission. So that's a perfect capital mobility was there. They should have taken the money outside, and even they were supposed to bring the money at the time of the retirement of any investment. That's all exactly what I can say, sir.
No, I think the question is still on, when you ship something out, there's invoice that goes out, there's a custody. According to those invoices, has the remittances come? So that monitoring, did it took place from 17 to 23? It happened?
No,
That's it has not.
that started from 2022 June, sir.
2022 June.
Yeah.
So,
There was a
Why are you
period that
saying, why are you
we
saying
didn't
not
want.
there? The 120 days that was given was monitored by the commercial banks, and you all were overseeing the banks. Because this was IMF recommendation at that time.
Yes, sir. In terms of the
No. Our question is, amidst the exchange control that was there, which was virulent, that was replaced by a more user-friendly, investment-friendly system. The question that was asked was their monies kept outside? It was not that there was no control at all. The banks were controlling, and the thing was, which was 90 days persuasive, was made, which was insistive, became persuasive. Now that particular thing was monitored by the banks. So why are you saying that there was no control?
no, what I am trying to explain, sir, now 2017, we are not talking about this existing rule. This existing rule was first issued under the Monetary Law Act, then it was issued under the Central Bank Act in 2024. Okay. Now, but what was prevailing in 2017 was a regulation issued under the Foreign Exchange Act, which required the exporters to bring the foreign exchange within, as you said, firstly it was 180 days, but subsequently it was extended to 180 days. So there would have been companies who are not complying with the Foreign Exchange Act, sir. They have been fully exempted from the Foreign Exchange Act.
Who monitors that? Central Bank? No?
So they were supposed to bring the money, but there was no
My
any
question,
particular monitoring.
You quite rightly answered it, that there was a law. Who monitors that? Huh? No, who was monitoring Central Bank?
We didn't have a kind of a monitoring scheme what we have right now, something similar system before 2022, sir.
So let me ask you this to clarify. So between 17 and 22, that people could have exported but not remitted the export proceeds back to Sri Lanka, even though they were legally expected to do so within 180 days.
Yeah.
If they didn't do that, no one knew whether they did it or not.
No one monitored.
Is that correct?
So in the present sense, sir, we didn't have a
No, I'm not
computer
talking
system
present.
right now.
That's now. Central Bank is the regulator for foreign exchange, no? There's no one else. Correct?
So in terms of our foreign exchange, and our objective is to promote and regulate the foreign exchange transactions.
Right. So 17 to 20, when goods were sold in America, they would have been paid in dollars, and the law was that in 180 days, those export proceeds had to be brought back. Now, are you saying that between 17 and 20, some people may have done it, some people may not have done it, and those who didn't do it was never scrutinized? Is that correct?
So in fact, we didn't have a monitoring scheme as such.
I think he's trying to answer in a very diplomatic way. There has not been a structure to do it. So I think this is a very critical information, even for us to understand the crisis. This would have been a course for Sri Lanka, because now whatever we earn, we know we get, right? Only problem now we will have is under invoicing, which you will have to implement that tripart arm's length audit, what do you call it, related party transactions, right? So that audit, I don't know whether Sri Lanka is doing or not, but only thing is now we know whatever is invoiced we get.
Right. No, still we don't, because you are only on the CASDEC. No, what about IT?
So in terms of the IT is basically a service export.
I know that. That's why I'm asking. There's no CASDEC for IT, no?
Yeah. So we don't have a source document, something
So
similar
we don't
to
know.
CASDEC, sir. First, we are not in a position to monitor.
So whether if we sell overseas IT, whether they bring the money or not, even today we don't know.
So we don't have a system like
No, so
what we
I
use
asked
for
my
this.
question.
Yeah.
We don't know, or do we know, or do we don't know?
We have no way of reconciling it, sir.
I am asking you, do we know or do we not know?
Yeah, yeah.
Do we know or do we not know?
So in fact, they have to report these
No,
transactions
that's not
to
the point. No, this is about monitoring, no,
Yeah.
Director.
Yeah.
The question is, do we have a way of monitoring the remittances or export proceeds of IT, whether they are being brought back?
Yeah, in fact, banks they have to submit all these
They have
service
to
exports.
submit this, we know, that is
Yeah.
what we are saying, no, between
Yeah.
17 and
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
asking whether you have in your central bank a system to monitor.
So if we are to extend this exports proceed monitoring system to cover these area like IT, which what the India has done for the moment, because we examine the Indian system, they have a kind of a system. Even our team also went there to study in India, was to implement this particular EPMS system to cover these IT systems, and we found that in Indian case also they are not that much successful in monitoring this thing.
You're giving me long answers. No, I don't know why. Normally you give a straightforward answer.
Honorable
So
Chair,
you don't
now-
have a system. I'm assuming
No.
you don't have a system.
Yeah, now since, like he's saying, we don't have a source document to go by to reconcile the amounts repatriated.
So that is the question, no, Assistant
that's-
Governor.
So, because of that, we find it difficult to do so, but we are exploring the possibility of the banks will not release money without seeing for what purpose the money was remitted. So, we are looking at whether there's a possibility of looking at the agreements, service agreements, where the amount could be indicated, where we can reconcile.
Yeah,
with
so basically the answer to the question is no, we don't have a system.
No, not at the moment.
That's correct. So therefore, now what if you extend your argument, Assistant Governor, then between 17 and 20 also the banks should have done it, no? If the banks had to, there was a law, Honorable Minister, exactly my point, right? So if the law was, people were breaking the law left, right and center, assuming they did, there was nothing that could have been done.
May I ask a question this way? Till 2017, was there people keeping monies outside the country?
Till 2017.
17. Till this repeal the act that was there or whatever regulation that was there. Was there monies kept outside the country?
Even under Exchange Control Act, sir, they were supposed to bring their export proceeds to the country.
Now my question is, central bank, you said doesn't have the teeth now, but it had all the teeth at that time. Did it come or not is the question.
Yeah. The exemption. Sorry. No.
The remittances.
Yeah, because we are
We have
already
time.
running
So
out
I
of
think,
time.
I mean,
In
we
fact,
might not have all
in
the-
terms of the Exchange Control Act, in fact, in 1993, there had been a regulation issued accepting exporters from the requirement of repatriation export proceeds with mandatory export proceed repatriation requirement that they had to bring the foreign exchange to the country, whatever they receive out of export proceeds within 6 months in terms of the section 23 or 22 of the Exchange Control Act. But later on, this was waived, removed in terms of the regulation issued under the Exchange Control Act in 1993. Since then, there had been no requirement to repatriate export proceeds to the country until it was reimposed in 2016.
So that is correct. So in 2016-17, what you did as minister was to bring the money back. I mean, that was the intention. The intention was to bring the money back within 180 days.
Yeah.
Because up to then, there was no such requirement.
Because in
And in
1990,
22, you all strengthened it further by
introducing
adding in
this
a-
EPMS system.
Adding in the CBMS system.
EPMS system.
So what system?
Export proceed monitoring system, sir.
Export proceed monitoring system.
Now, how does your peer countries in Malaysia, Indonesia, because look, we are not the only girl on the beach, no. So when we are trying to attract, by putting straitjacket operation, you're only making people more scared. How are you going to voluntarily get them beside the high tax rate that is there? What is the mechanism that you can use in an investor-friendly way to bring it into the country? But that's the modern world, no? Not that even you don't need the export entry to see what is the export of services. You can put it onto that export entry any case as service. But how are you going to friendly get it in? I think that's what you all should educate yourself.
We are running out of time because we have a lot of people waiting outside.
Harsha, one
what we are
question.
going, yes,
Do
Minister.
we have a transfer pricing act or regulation like India?
I think this is covered under the Inland Revenue Act, I think.
First sale.
Transfer pricing mechanism.
Yeah, because cross-border transfer pricing, Harsha, is the where that you under invoice and do
Is it
it.
on the first sale thing, no?
Yeah, so for example, if you have a mother company somewhere and a sister company somewhere, you can under invoice those companies. So the country of the host do the audit to see, for example, when we were operating in India, the Indian authorities were trying to see whether the order from Sri Lanka to India is same value as order from the mother company from Sri Lanka to Vietnam. So,
The OECD P1
so we have to check that. So I don't know whether Sri Lanka do have that kind of a
Yeah.
IRD.
Yes, IRD, yes, IRD.
No, two things. I mean, so one is, as he said, for Indian revenue, yes. But for transfer pricing, we are on the first one we signed, the second one we haven't.
We haven't signed.
Yeah, so that's where the
So that's also a gap.
multi-tier.
Harsha.
Yeah, that is a
So
gap.
we need to one thing, and the other place with the IT companies, if you don't have a source per se, the inland revenue, they have to submit their accounts, minimum, the financial details and the profitability. That is also a good indicator in hindsight to see whether, I don't know whether they are conning or not, but at least because the employees of that company is vigilant about the profitability because of the bonuses. So basically to inland revenue, they can't give so much of a deviation. So if you use the inland revenue revenue and check against minimum that revenue has come to the country, which is
Then what do you need the central bank for?
no.
What you need the
No.
central bank?
They don't
So
have.
your point is
no.
right.
They said they don't have a source to check. Like a CASDEC. What I'm saying is you have the annual return. The revenue is there in the annual return. Am I-
I'll tell you what.
Can I ask,
Yeah,
where
since
it's a
we are
pertinent-
running out of time.
On the basis of MAs and companies of stature, which has gone up, they did after the high taxation, they had only a value-added revenue coming to the country. No? Have you all as central bank found anything out on that basis? So otherwise, all this is a waste of time. If the companies of repute, you are unable to get, the one-man operating company you'll never get. So have you found that out?
I'll tell you what, because this is a longer discussion, what we are going to ask you is to send us perhaps even a working paper. I may even call it a working paper because there seems to be gaps that need to be filled, right? And we can perhaps look at all these issues what the minister raised about the transfer pricing issue and about the IT, documentation, source documentation issue.
Can you get to the 93, 96 to all those things and
Yeah.
find what has been the exchange
Yeah.
that has been supposed to be kept out of the country? Because there are various stories that come $20 billion, 36 billion is the last one. Humanly it is impossible.
Yeah.
But let us,
I
let us feed that
Yeah.
number.
Unfortunately, Lakmal is not here. She would have known the number. Right. So what we are going to do? No, we don't have time. What we are going to do, Sn. Governor, is we will ask you. We'll send a letter. But essentially, what we want to do is to understand the issue and see how we can
And give
also.
them another time
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that they can bring it
Sir,
up.
may I say that for information, Honorable Chairman,
Yes,
that because that we know that there are so many sectors in the service, it is very diverse field, so that even countries like India won't go into the monitoring of each and every, but they have instead has selected the IT sector, as you said. In fact, but how they have done is basically.
No, sorry. We just don't have the time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off because they have the governor and everybody is waiting outside. So we will ask you to present to us. We'll have a actually working meeting here, right? On a sort of a working paper, right? And that should tell us, okay, what was the case previously, what happened in 2017, what happened in 2020, where are we now, and what are the gaps, and then as a committee on.
For the 30 years that you were we 93 they said no?
Yeah.
So 93, 96.
You
take
have all the
the
data.
points that you feel
Yeah.
as the apex body, what are the problems that you find bringing this money voluntary in?
Yeah, so we will, it will be a sort of a discussion here.
Honorable Chair, it will be purely based on what is available with us at the moment, because we will not be able to. We are also like I joined 2021. This particular department he was so sometimes institutional knowledge, if it is not there on documents, whatever is available will.
So what do you mean it's not there? It has
So
to be
in the
there?
sense like certain gaps, for instance, if there's no data, then whatever we have will
Yeah,
work on that and
obviously.
No, Deputy Governor, the thing is every year there had been a review on this team, no? So, I mean, basically the central bank would have presented every year what are the gaps, what are the challenges they had in those years,
whatever is
whatever the
available based
institutional
on that, we will-
information.
yeah, because it's going
It
to be
doesn't
long
matter
pe-
who was
longer
there
period-
governing.
No, the
That's-
longer period, if the, when the date, whatever the data is there, we'll present based on.
Sure,
that.
sure.
Sure,
But
sure.
if data is not there, means it is not legal? You can't be on a hypothesis? no?
Have we based on that,
Yeah,
honorable
so
member, we'll.
what you don't have doesn't exist. All what you want to know is what you all feel that is basically not being brought into the country.
Okay,
For
well,
some reason or the
I
other.
really don't want to get into a discussion here because it's not courteous, those people have been waiting
No,
for
no,
1
no.
hour.
Send them off without knowing what we want to get. What we want to get is very specifically what should come into the country in a legal manner, should have come or not. If it has not come, it's illegal. If it has come, it's illegal.
No, previously it was not illegal now for if it didn't come. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, it was not illegal then. So, I mean, if you contextually explain, let's have a discussion on that. Right, okay, thank you very much, this is approved. Right. Ara, may Anit Khatira end again, you'll have to be here, no? Right, okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Committee on Public Finance. We are here today to listen to your explanation on the deviation of headline inflation from the target for quarter 2 and quarter 3 of 2025, and as per part 14 of the Central Bank Act, to discuss issues regarding functions of the central bank. So those two things, Governor, we will take together as we have done in the last few quarters. Once again, welcome to the committee. We apologize for the delays because we had another matter that we had to discuss with your own people. Before we start, starting with Assistant Governor Chandanath, could you identify yourself for the record?
Thank you very much. I'm Chandranath Amarasekara, Deputy Governor of the Central Bank and member of the Monetary Policy Committee.
Deputy Governor.
Ravi Ratnayaka, an appointed member of Governing Council as well as Monetary Policy Board of Central Bank.
Nandalal Yudhisinghe, Governor, Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
Nihal Fonseca, appointed member Governing Board and member Monetary Policy Board.
Dushni Verkon, appointed member Monetary Policy Board.
Vish Govindasamy, appointed member of the Governing Board and Monetary Policy Board.
Priyanka Dunusinghe, appointed member Monetary Policy Board.
Maitri Vikramasinghe, appointed member Governing Board and member of the Monetary Policy Board.
Manil Jayasinghe, appointed member of the Governing Board and the Monetary Policy Board.
Nelumani Dawalagala, Senior Deputy Governor, Central Bank.
Dilrukshini Vatuduru, Assistant Governor.
Pass the mic.
Dimutu Samarathunga, Assistant Governor and Secretary to the Governing Board and the Monetary Policy Board.
KGP Sirikumara, Deputy Governor and member of the Monetary Policy Board.
Priyanta Tilakavira, Director Macroprudential Surveillance.
Sorry?
Tilakavira, Director Macroprudential Surveillance Department.
Chanuri Jayasinghe, Director Non-Bank Supervision. Bhukshana Jayatilaka, Director of Bank Supervision. Inoka Vikramasinghe, Director Legal.
Vasant Alvis, Director Payments and Settlements. Harsha Beratna, Senior Economist, Economic Research Department.
Amila Marakan, Senior Assistant Director, Bank Supervision Department.
Hemanta Eknayaka, Director Communications. Lasanthi Sirimana, Chief Accountant.
Erandi Liyanage, Additional Secretary and Secretary to the Governor.
Lasita Patberi, Additional Director, Economic Research Department.
Janaka Edirisinghe, Deputy Director, Economic Research Department.
Where is Dr. Jagajeevan?
She is on leave today, and also she has been nominated to represent the IMF after Clarissa coming back end of this month. So she is on leave and will be leaving Washington to take over that position.
Ah.
Yeah. As
Good.
alternate year.
Good. Then who is going to be taking over as PR?
Dr. Lasit Patberia is now acting, and he will be taking over as a Director of Research.
Very good. Then we have got a leave of absence from Mr. Anushka Vijay Singh. Right. So where do we start? We have two things.
Chairman, we have a presentation. There will be, depending on financial stability, someone else will do that. And on the monetary side, Dr. Patberia will do the presentation.
Okay, so now it is 3:25, right? There's going to have to be a discussion around it as well.
Sure.
So how shall we?
Yes, I think we ran out of time.
So depending on how much time, Honorable Member says, if we run out of time, we'll have to meet again.
I guess we can do within, how many minutes you want to?
We have 28 slides, 25
Maybe half
minutes.
an hour, yeah.
25 minutes,
half an
30
hour.
minutes.
30 minutes?
Yeah, should be.
No, yeah, so now it's 3:25 now? So shall we try to finish the presentation by, say, 4 o'clock? And then we'll open the for
Yeah, so it
questions.
will be not sufficient in any case to finish it. So let's take what is required and then break it up, other will be neither here nor there. It will have to be a meaningful discourse.
Yeah, so what is the end time? Shall we agree on an end time?
We are, I mean, because we have been here for now more than 1.5 hours, so we are okay.
No, you were
because
supposed to come at 2:30.
Yeah, we came a little earlier in case.
So that is not our fault.
Already,
You came at 2:30.
Just to make sure that we are present on time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, with respect to the committee.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, we also didn't expect to take that amount of time, but also you must understand this committee has discussions before we invite the officials in, because there are matters that the committee must discuss, as you probably know. That is the practice. So I was in good faith that I apologize I did not have, but I did anyway. But that is how committees work.
No,
So
from our side, we have not scheduled anything for the afternoon.
Right,
So I think
okay.
we are probably okay.
Right.
If you want
So
to.
shall we say 5 o'clock? Let's say till at 5 o'clock, and we'll take a call at that time. Okay.
Good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. Let me briefly go through the presentation today. And so this will, the presentation will mainly focus on central bank functions and mainly on the primary functions of the central bank. So the Central Bank of Sri Lanka Act enacted in 2023 has two main accountability clauses. So one is Section 82, and that requires central bank officials to come to the Parliament and discuss functions of the central bank. And Section 26(5) is about if the central bank fails to meet the inflation target set out in the Monetary Policy Framework Agreement for 2 consecutive quarters, the central bank will have to submit a report to the Honourable Minister, report to the Parliament through Honourable Minister. And so that's the second clause that we have in the Act. So that's what the presentation is about. So if I start with the primary objective, so which is achieve and maintain domestic price stability. First I will see the inflation, so which is the primary mandate of the central bank. And headline inflation continued its upward trend towards a target of 5%. So if you see this chart, which is the black line, so that shows the how inflation has been moving from early 2021 till to date. And the expanded section is the red color. That's from January 2024 to January 2026, how inflation has been behaving. And as you can see, inflation has been at a peak of deflation around 4.2% in early January. And now from that month onward, from January onwards, we see inflation has been accelerating, and at the moment in January 2026, inflation, year-on-year inflation rate was at 2.3%. And for this acceleration, mainly the main contribution was food category, increase in food prices, along with easing of deflationary pressures that I will discuss in detail in the coming slides. Easing of deflationary pressures from energy and transport-related prices. But this increase has been gradual because of the gradual and low co-inflation. So I will discuss that also in the coming slides. So that's why inflation has been gradual in recent months. And co-inflation, so basically co-inflation measures underlying inflationary pressures in the economy. So mainly that measures the aggregate demand conditions in the economy. So we have seen co-inflation has been increasing, as you can see in this chart to your left. And but one thing is co-inflation was never at negative levels like headline inflation. So co-inflation, the lowest we had was 0.7%, but now and in January it's 2.3%. There was a slight decrease in co-inflation in January, so that's coming from the base effect. And if you see the contribution to co-inflation, you can see from your this chart to your right, and it's mainly from non-food items and also food items. So this we can see the increase in non-food item inflation in the recent months. So so we expect with the gradually recovering economic activities and also demand conditions, co-inflation will move towards the target of headline inflation, that's 5%. And if you see the contribution of energy and transport inflation, I mentioned energy and transport was the main reason for this deflationary conditions. So you can see in this particular chart to your left, the energy and fuel inflation is given in this orange colored bars. So that was the peak was at in around in January 2025, but since then we see this the energy and transport inflation dissipating since in the recent months. So the main reason for this large decrease or deflation in energy and transport inflation is the two main items. So which is good. I mean the reduction in the electricity tariff and also fuel prices. So you can see in this chart two charts to your right. And electricity tariff revisions since 2022 August shown here in this bar chart, and we see large increases 75%, 66%. That's in 2022 and 2023. That was the correction period of this cost reflective pricing. But since then we see the reduction or again correction in prices in 2024. If you see 3 times in 2024. There were reductions, more than 20% tariff reductions, and that caused mainly this reduction in or deflation conditions in energy and transport inflation, which contributed to drag headline inflation down. And this is the category-wise headline inflation chart. So this chart shows that we have main 12 categories in inflation. Measured by the Department of Census and Statistics. So these 12 categories are given in this chart. So the width of this the row or the row is the scale of that category in the CPI basket. So this color scale is, if it's red, it's dark red, it's very high inflation, and it's blue or light color, that's a very low inflation or negative inflation. So what we wanted to mention here is, so very high inflation in 2022, 2023, and if you see this housing, water, electricity, gas, that particular category right here, if you can see, so we saw there was negative inflation, but again in recent months, so we see that negative inflation becoming positive and moving towards the 5% our target. So if you see as a whole in this particular chart, the red inflation now it's becoming some parts it's quite low or blue color, but overall it's converging towards 5% target in each category. So the inflation target that is given by the Monetary Policy Framework Agreement is 5%, and that target is a quarterly for quarterly headline inflation, and the target breach is measured by a range of plus or minus 2 percentage points. So if there's the itself mentions if there's a target breach, there should be a report, and the report should set out the reason for the target breach and the remedial actions proposed or remedial actions taken by the central bank and estimated period of achieving this target. So in that sense, so we have so if you see from Q2 2024, so target has been breached from the downside or lower side. So if you see this particular chart, so Q2 2024, so this in this chart, the green line is the lower side of the breach target, that's 3%. From Q2 2024, there had been target breaches from the lower side, from 0.8 to now in recent most recent quarter in Q4 2025 it's 2.1%. So we have submitted reports, 5 reports thus far due to this target breach from the lower side, and the 4 reports are in the public domain in the central bank website, and the final report, all 5 are in the public domain that's in the central bank website.
Just don't mean to break your thought, but isn't it we are keeping every year, every quarter we are missing this, and every quarter you are saying we are doing something to fix it, but it's not getting done. I mean, do you think this is some systemic problem that you all are having, or is it something that is unexpected? What is going on? So hopefully you will be able to explain to us in the coming slides.
Yes, Chairman, I will try to explain. So if you see this particular chart, Chairman, so we see from Q1 2025, so this is the peak inflation, quarterly inflation 3.6%. From that point onwards, we have seen the inflation accelerating, minus 1.1, 0.8%, and 2.1%. So we expect this trend to continue. So as I mentioned, the mainly this is one is economic activity, improving economic activity and improving demand conditions, and the second one that we expect is decelerating this reducing deflationary conditions in energy and transport sector. And also what we see, one thing here, Chairman, so the inflation acceleration is a little slow than we expected. So that could be, one reason could be, so we are after a crisis, and there was a level shift in the price levels, and so that could have some impact on the price setting behavior of the firms because of the level shift in the price levels. So that could be one reason.
May I just disturb you there for a second? Now, when you came to our committee then, when you reported to us on 10 January 2025, when did you expect to get back into target? What was your expectation then in January 2025? What did you tell this committee? When were you going to get back?
That was a year ago, Chairman, right?
Yeah, that was your first report, no?
Yeah.
First report was according to your slide, this slide, it says January 20, no, that slide, the first one.
So first report was 10th to Parliament, 10th January 2025.
Yeah, so what I want to know is generally, when did you expect to be back in the plus minus 2 range? When? That is what I want to know. When?
Yeah. One moment, Chairman, we'll have that number.
While you go ahead, somebody, your assistant can, what we want to know is this, Director, is you presented us 5 reports. In those 5 reports, we want to know when you had hoped to get back into business. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, not business, but to the target.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, member. We expected inflation to return to 3% level within the year in 2026, late 2026.
No, 2025.
2025, yeah, sorry.
Then in your second report? No, we are not. We just to show that, because that is an important point here. Because why you are coming here is to tell us what you are trying to do, what you are doing to get back. So you don't have to stop the presentation. You can continue. Your colleagues can look for those dates. Yes.
I will continue the presentation. So, the main tool that central bank has is to control inflation is the interest rate. So we have the policy rate, and since 2023 June, central bank has been maintaining accommodative monetary policy, and in 2023 we reduced interest rates by 650 basis points, and 2024 125 basis points, and 2025 again 25 basis points, and overall since 2023 June we have reduced interest rates by 8 percentage points. So the main idea is to the objective of this the policy action is to reduce the overall interest rate structure in the economy and give a boost to the economy and improve demand conditions. So that will help us to achieve inflation target. So at the moment, so we estimate inflation. This is our usual inflation fan chart, and we expect inflation to reach the target in the second quarter of in the second half of 2026.
Now, so is that a different date from the last time?
No, last time also we expected the target to around second half of 2026.
Previously?
Yeah, we will come back to that. So the main factors that we expect this inflation will come back to inflation target is, so one is monetary policy easing, and so the interest rates are, the overall interest rate structure is low, and also we expect this energy and transport inflation, also the dissipation of deflation in energy and transport sectors, and we expect some increase, and we expected some increase in the electricity prices in the first quarter as well, but so now we expect in April some increase in energy electricity prices, so so that's also factored in when we project our inflation target.
So can I ask with permission? So I think it's very clear it's a trend line that you predict. And since you have not changed the interest rate in 2026, basically it's expectation of the effect of the interest rate change that happened in 2025. There's a lag. But the events that you are forecasting is from the supply side. So how would we do this going forward? Because you historically showed the majority of the inflation change happened from the supply side, which is the fuel price increase, reduction, and now again we are planning events to occur from the supply side. So basically what we are doing now is we are keeping the interest rate at the lowest possible probably in 2026, expecting the demand side to adjust in future and expecting some supply side changes.
So this is how we're going to do it, because timing is also an issue. So you keep that question in mind, and as you progress, please address the member's question.
Since we are, Chairman, moving towards the end of the inflation slides, so to Minister's question, if I use this co-inflation chart, so usually the
So this is the last one, right?
Yes. So
yeah.
no.
So this is a good time to ask questions on that, no? Right, because we are going into a separate section.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's open it for questions on the inflation matter. Please, yes, go ahead.
Yes, so this is the co-inflation. Usually the co-inflation is measured we remove energy and transport inflation, related prices, and also volatile food prices. So if you see carefully this particular chart, so we have seen co-inflation moving towards 5%. And this reduction in January is coming from the base effect that due to last year's January phenomenon. So from this, what we can see is demand conditions improve in the economy. And Minister, so we have a transmission lag in the economy. When we do a monetary policy change or interest rate change, it usually takes 12 months to 18 months time to reach the economy and have inflation impact on inflation. So at the moment what we consider is there will be this demand conditions moving, and I'll come to the next section, credit. So we see credit expansion in the economy, significant credit expansion in the economy. I will show you in the slides. So what we expect is these demand conditions will gradually move, and of course supply side conditions we can't just ignore, because our inflation target is headline inflation target. It's not a co-inflation target. So we'll have to consider supply side conditions as well, because suddenly if there was a 20% reduction in electricity, we can't do anything from next month.
So how do central bank answer that or be accountable for a headline inflation which is majorly shifted by the supply side, which is now being factually proven across the years? Governor, can you explain?
Yeah, thank you. That's a very valid question the Honourable Minister asked, both supply side and demand side. So what we see in response to our interest rate changes, we are seeing the demand side as responding as we expected. That's why credit growth has been growing, in fact more than what we were hoping, and also growth has been very close to 5% for last 2 years, and it's continuing to grow around 5%. So we don't see a problem in, and also balance of payment, the currency depreciation and reserve build-up, imports growing, all are in line with the expected demand side condition that we can control interest rates. On the supply side, obviously, as you said quite rightly, headline inflation is a function of both this demand side as well as supply side. So supply side main key component is this energy price reduction or increase by the authorities or the government based on several other things, and some short-term supply side seasonal impact we can factor that in. So I think this is where for any central bank targeting inflation to the dot, especially in a country where the supply side has a major role or major contribution, there's always a variation. So even going forward, when we say today, inflation will be close crossing 3% in third quarter or second half of this year is also subject to our assumption now. Based on the cost recovery pricing, we can reasonably, based on the information, we assume list prices will be adjusted upwards on the request of cost recovery pricing. If that has happened, obviously this will go to 3%. If that doesn't happen, still we will not be able to reach 3%. But from the monetary policy side, what we in our interest rate policy we set based on the looking at forward-looking demand conditions. That I think monetary policy is where we think where appropriate monetary policy stance is right there in the balance, both the external side, demand from the external side, demand on the exchange rate, and also credit conditions, and more credit is now flowing nicely to the economy. The economy is also growing. So if we did not see the economy is not responding to demand conditions, obviously we could have reduced further. We did not see that. Even next year, this year, we see demand conditions continuing to happening. We don't want to have too much demand coming in, then it will impact on the imports and exchange rate, all these things, to balance both sides. This is where the difficulty for us, when a country which has headline inflation is determined by several other factors, not only the demand conditions, we always have this variation. We can say what you say now based on what we see now. If those are realized, we will see inflation crossing 3% by the third quarter or second half of this year. But if that does not happen, obviously that could be both side variation. And also to the fact that recognizing this kind of variation in countries like ours is one of the reasons why in the IMF program, inflation band is not 2% plus or minus, 3% plus or minus. They have given us a much more variation due to the fact that our country is settling, especially after this coming out of very high inflation and high price levels, settling into a stable inflation, settling into a kind of a medium long-term target will take some time. In between there can be variation. That's why they have even permitted us to have this target plus or minus 3% or 5%. We are not deviating from the IMF condition, but obviously based on the agreement we signed in 2023 with the government, we are now deviating from the such a low side. That's the part is that one can argue this is a deviation, obviously, but whether it is desirable or not is a different question. Whether if we had achieved 5% now, price levels would have been 3% more than what we have now. So that's the other part. And also demand would have been much higher if the economy going to grow faster, credit was going to go faster. So these are the balancing factors when it comes to inflation targeting.
So would these learnings be used now after 3 years? Chairman said that we can relook at the agreement.
This is
because
what
now the data is showing us there's two sides to it. There's a side that central bank can obviously control and expect.
Correct.
And one lever to pull. And fiscal side also has a accountability.
Can pull other levers.
And then the maintaining a particular inflation in the country is a collective role again. Then it becomes the question of whether we are fully independent of driving this. So it's a collective responsibility.
No, this is coordinated. That's why we have a understanding with the government on the inflation target, where what is feasible. Obviously, I don't think any central bank nowhere in the world 2% or 3% target. It will be up or plus or minus something. Nowhere else there has to be fixed inflation for a long period. It is varying. What is the variation? To what extent we can tolerate or country can tolerate the variation given the circumstances and the economic condition is a debate.
Yes, Chandana.
Honourable Chair, if I may add to what Governor said then, the Honourable Minister, I think inflation, as explained, is a function of both demand and supply factors, and when private sector credit by the banking system is growing at 25% plus, we have released about 2 trillion rupees as private sector credit to the economy in 2025. So that's a substantial amount of credit. So like Governor said, the demand side is functioning very well. So it is those disruptions from the supply side that is probably keeping, of course, I mean, there are demand side issues because disposable incomes are low and so on. But when you look at the supply side, I think Dr. Patberia showed a chart at the beginning where electricity price revisions have been substantial in the past. So going forward, if there are quarterly price adjustments, then the disruption coming from those will be less. That would enable the central bank to ensure maintaining inflation at reasonable levels.
So one thing on the credit side, now say the credit is going to luxury goods, which is not in the basket. Would it actually have an impact that we expect or not is a different story? No? So for example, now our inflation is monitored from a basket that we looked at few minutes ago. So the actual credit, if it's going for buying luxury cars and apartments and all those things, it will have very less impact on the inflation. Do we have a view of where this credit is going to? Because credit is growing. If the credit is coming for manufacturing, consumer goods, supply increase, yes, it will have a expected outcome.
Absolutely, Honorable.
Do you have a view on that?
I think the figures will be shown in the next few
Yeah,
slides.
before we go to the next section,
Yes.
I have some questions on this current section. I mean, the law does not exclude yourselves from not meeting the target because you can give an excuse on supply side. Law doesn't say that, right? It says you have to keep a, plus minus of the target. But you have been telling us every quarter, and that is what I wanted to know first before I ask the question. What did you tell this committee about when you are going to meet the target in the last 5 occasions?
Yeah, Chairman, I have that information now. In the first report, we mentioned second half of 2025.
Second half of 2025?
Yeah.
Why? Your reason was supply side, no?
Yes, I think in January we mentioned that.
It's all supply side.
No, I think it was mostly they were expecting the demand adjustment, which was the basis point reduction at that point, which was 125 BP, to effect by the second quarter of 2025, was it?
And credit growth was also weak.
Yeah.
DG, I mean, my question is, I'm trying to figure out, whether this is a systemic thing. I mean, supply side, is it a transitory supply side shock? Or is it a, supply side shock that is continuing? Because the question is relevant to what the minister also asked, is that we now have a mechanism to predict electricity tariffs. We have a mechanism to predict fuel tariffs, right? And you know what fuel futures are. You know what electricity prices are, not just for this quarter, but also, it is available. So how is it that, you all are not able to capture that, right? So think about that question that I'm asking now, but before you answer that, we like to know what your projections were in the last 5 reports. So you said the first one was middle 2025.
Yeah, Q3 actually, Q3 2025.
Right then?
And the next report, that's for Q4 2025. So that's basically both second half of 2025 we expected. And the next report, Q1 2026. And the last one and this, the one we discussed today is both we expect second half of 2026.
That is Q3?
Yeah, Q3. 3% target around
Q3?
Yeah.
So why is such a, I mean, there hasn't been any significant shock since 2025 January. I can't recall of any significant supply side shock, except for DITWA. We'll worry about that later. So why wasn't the central bank able to predict? And why has it been that your projection has now been delayed 4 quarters, 5 quarters? 5 quarters.
If I may add, Honorable Chairman, this is not supply side shocks that has changed. It is the assumptions that we took, as you said, now if you take today position, we expect electricity prices on cost recovery basis. That was expectation even from the last year. That cost recovery basis electricity prices could have increased by a certain percent every time ECB is asking, but that has not happened. So when you factor in that thing, and then on that basis we make a projection of petroleum price, obviously a variation is a global price determination. Local prices are monthly are very smooth, and that wouldn't have any impact on the headline inflation.
Yeah, could you go back to that slide where you show that?
When you look at the when we make projections, we have a what they call near-term forecast as well as a medium-term.
Yeah, so Governor, one second.
Always say,
Governor, 1 second. The yellow bar, I mean, most of it, almost all of it is energy, or how much of it is energy? Energy and fuel, no, both, no?
Energy and transport.
No, it says energy and fuel, so electricity tariff plus petrol price, right?
Petrol prices. Yes.
So if it is 100, how much of it is electricity, how much of it is?
What is the weight of that? You can answer that question.
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah, you were saying, Governor, I interrupted.
This is what the point is, that this whenever, even that's why even when we make this statement today, so now CB has asked, say, some 16%, no, what is 13% increase. So for us to come to a projection, we have to take into account that request.
So you have to predict the supply side.
We have to predict the forward-looking energy prices.
True.
No, the supply side is a different thing. Supply side is that when there's something happen, there's a less supply or large supply. Supply side is not directly. This is supply side factors that will determine the headline inflation based on the energy prices, future forward-looking energy prices. So if we can accurately, forecast us back, if you look at the assumption, we had forecasted the energy price variation based on the cost recovery pricing. That did not happen. As a result, inflation did not move the way that we predicted at that time. That was the major reason, not the only reason. That was one of the major reasons. That's why you see the yellow bars are the reason for the deviation. Even now, when we say this is based on a 13% increase in electricity prices, if that doesn't happen, then we may not be able to hit that 5%.
So it's not in your control.
Yeah, this is obviously, I don't think Central Bank has any say on that.
Yeah, but then you'll have to amend the law. Because, it says, you have to be responsible for what you can be responsible for.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, if you look at the core inflation, yes, people don't understand what core inflation is. But as your job is certainly not to be predicting, what's going to happen, whether the political authority is going to approve the PUCSL tariff reduction or increase or not.
Yeah.
Right? You are just going on the basis that it will be done. I buy that argument.
So then the agreement should be on the core inflation.
That is what I have been saying from the beginning. I have been arguing here that from the beginning, that from 2024, whenever this was brought, Governor, you recall, that this has to be within the control of the central bank. Either that has to be core, or then in the law it can't, you have to separation that what is within the control of the central bank. So the point is, whether you can't actually predict, right? Did you find out what the percentage weight was? How much was the weight?
For electricity, it is 3.9, which is 39%. If you put it to 100, the fuel, it is 6. The weight is 6. That is 60%.
60%?
Yeah, 60 to 40.
So 40 electricity, 60 fuel?
Yeah.
But the fuel prices we can determine, no?
It didn't change much.
Didn't change much, no. And also, fuel price adjustment they have never stopped it. Every month it has happened. So why are you saying it was not possible?
It has happened. Whether, I think when you look at today, can anyone reasonably accurately predict what will happen next 12 months world prices? We are taking the World Economic Outlook or some projections. So,
I would argue, yes. I mean, in the sense, next 12 months, next 6 months, I mean, there are forward contracts, futures that are trading, no?
No, but actual prices vary, because if you look at even recently, because of this Venezuela thing or some, this US is trying to attack somewhere else, There was a $10 increase all the sudden.
The governor, I
This
will agree
variation-
with you if then that has been a one-off thing. But to me, this shows that there is something systemic in your forecast.
No, that is the difficulty in forecasting, especially the energy prices.
Yeah, because now that argument that you made earlier, which I also thought was the case, may not be necessarily that. Because if it is only 40% and the electricity tariff not been adjusted to the extent necessary, yes, I agree with you, is to an extent impacting on this. But I am a little bit surprised that it is not electricity tariff difference, but it is the petrol price difference that is driving this more.
No, Honourable Chair, I think there is a misunderstanding. So essentially, we are talking about the weight here. This 40% is the weight within that energy and transport.
No,
that
so we are
category.
looking at the yellow bar, no?
Yes,
DG?
yes.
Yeah.
So that yellow bar is that 100%.
Yes.
But this yellow bar is driven by the very large changes in electricity tariffs. So in August 2022, 75% increase.
That's
we are not looking at
February,
the last
66% increase.
We are looking at the last four
and
quarters.
March 2024, 21.9% downward. And so 22%, 20%, like that.
No, we are
No,
talking about
we are
the
not
changes
going
have
back to
been
22.
substantial.
No, we are not going back to 22.
No, 24 and 25 January, and that has the base effect, and that's what's dissipating
The base
now.
effect you
Honourable
can
Chair.
predict. No, your model can predict the base effect. Don't tell me your
Harsha,
prediction.
can I ask you one question on the analysts who are doing this? Is this chart, the predictive chart, is it a model or a general forecast on the Excel?
If I may, Honourable
Headline
Chair,
inflation
we have a
projection
very
chart.
sophisticated model.
Huh?
We have a very
So
sophisticated
you
model.
input these variables and you get this green line, this one?
Yes.
You
And
are saying that you input
correct,
variables.
Yes.
So then the two variables is supply side.
It's more complicated than
Okay. I'll reserve my question. So the variables has to be supply side variables, demand side variables. Now demand side is expectation of a lag effect of a basis point change in the interest rate adjustments we did, expecting how it can propagate into private credit and all those things. That is one side of input variables. The other side variables is what you just said, that you expect the price reflective energy change, fuel and crops or whatever you can use, right? So I am actually asking, do you really input that kind of ingredients into this prediction, or are you getting extrapolation of the existing one?
No, I think why don't you explain the what are the components we are in the model?
I see.
It's a fiscal. There are several components in the model. Why don't?
Yeah. So part of the inputs are based on supply side development. So we first arrive at a sort of near-term forecast based on what has happened in recent periods and based on seasonality factors, etc. So based on that, we get a forecast for near-term expectations about different components of inflation. So that is a key input for 6 months ahead period.
6 months ahead period.
2 quarters, yes.
That's the base trend line. And then you adjust on top of it. Right?
So that's the base trend line, yes. But then there is in the model there are some economic relationships built in. So based on that, the medium-term projection is forecasted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So to adjust the
So
base
what are
line.
the variables? Say you have energy component, then a fiscal component, the other component.
Yes. So that is this near-term forecast is one component. The other major inputs going into the projections are we have forecasts for global variables like what is going to happen to global oil prices and US interest rate. Then we also have some expectation about our trading partners' output level, demand conditions for basically external side. So those are given as inputs as a projection. And also we have a projection input for the fiscal side also. So we have inputs from IMF path and also from projections of budget announcements that are announced. We take those inputs also as an input and those are part of the inputs that go into this projection.
Right. So these inputs are assumptions. Nobody can really get it, right? So for the 5 projections you have done, you have inputted at each point five sets of variables. Now you can also learn out of it which assumption did fail and which assumption was close. Am I right? Because it's a mathematical model. The inputs are assumptions. Now the assumptions have changed. That's what the governor is saying. No? So then you can learn out of it and say our assumptions were off. And it has to be clearly indicative to say that our assumptions of last quarter XYZ variables were off, therefore this. Because if we coined it to one particular fact of CB not adjusting prices, then it defies the purpose of having a model.
Let me add to this. This is precisely what I am saying also, because I mean, if it is a one-off thing, then it's okay. But to me, to all of us, the yellow line seems to be fairly yeah, I mean, it seems to be off every quarter.
These are the same things you asked the last 3-4 and the same answers come around. So it is because the same answers have been given, electricity tariff in Q4, the food prices they say, energy prices, so it's back again the same thing.
No, so that is why we can somebody show that the NDB thing. We just want to show you. Let's have for a discussion. We picked up a little graph. I want to show you in just a second. The issue really is whether your model is able to adjust for learning, or is it not? I mean, do you have some AI in it so it learns because you made a projection, made an assumption that in reality it wasn't the case. So will it continue to do it or will it not? Now this we just picked up from NDB wealth management or something like that, NDB IB or something. Just look at that. Can you see that? I had a printout here. Where is that? What it says, if you look at the red dot, right, which is a January 26 actual 2.1. Okay, the red dot. Can you see the red dot? Yeah. Can you make it a little bigger? And
red line or the dot?
Red line and the dot, which is dot is for today, December 2025. Just there you go. Make it bigger, please, doctor. Some more. Get to the, yeah. Right? Now. Yeah. Right. But now, if you look at the February 24, that is orange. This is your fan chart midpoint. January 2025, the yellow line, your fan chart midpoint was 5.5. Right? That is where you were supposed to be. But you are at 2.1. If you go to the February 24 fan chart midpoint, you are supposed to be 6. If you go to the August 24 fan chart, you are supposed to be 7. Right? So those you are supposed to be at 5.5, 6, 7, but we are at 2.1. Right? So, which to us, just by looking at it, Governor, it seems
your assumptions are way off.
That's right. Right? So the question is, it is possible, it will happen, we don't know. These guys may not approve, the government may not approve the PUCSL recommendation. But can it happen every quarter, quarter after quarter, it is happening. Right? So the question is your model dynamic enough to capture the the change in your assumption and the reality. That's really the issue.
This is the very high level technical discussion taking place at the Monetary Policy Committee and Monetary Policy Board. So all these questions have been asked by the expert members here. I think on that basis what we look at is we test assumptions also. We have, for example, every monetary policy round, we have number of scenarios we run. Say, for example, if electricity prices not adjusted, what will be the outcome? The fiscal outcome. For example, if you look at the fiscal block here, the usual fiscal assumption, if you look at last year to this year, 2025, was the 2.3% the primary surplus. The demand coming from fiscal impulse. Actually, now realized is 6% primary surplus compared to 2.3%, which was assumed in the model at that point. So I think there are a lot of assumptions that has not been realized, but we also we certainly sometimes we assume baseline is there. Baseline, if there is a higher increase in global oil prices, what will have the impact? So we look at those things, and on that basis we have to make a judgment there.
Yeah, but then Governor, I can accept your explanation if it was 1 quarter or 2 quarters. It's 6 quarters. And I'll tell you why I'm asking this question is because what about the other issues? You know, I mean, not just inflation, but inflation, for instance, debt to GDP issues, you know, other issues, growth issues, real interest rate issues. I mean, why is interest rates not going down? I mean, should interest rates be this high? You know, what is the real interest rate? I mean, nominal interest rate is what 10%? What is the TB 1 year treasury bill rate? 8.3. Inflation is 2.1. What is the expectation of inflation? 2.3. Let's say 8.3. So that is 6% real interest rate. So I mean, real interest rate of 6% is very, very, very high. I mean, if you look at all our competitor countries, Governor, India, except for India, everybody else is below 2% real interest rate.
So interest rates, I think here again the technical argument. Real interest rates is computed as a forward-looking inflation.
Expectation, no? Correct.
Expectation, no?
Correct.
If the target given to us is 5%, that is expectation.
Yeah, but then that is exactly the point. But we are not able to meet the target of 5%. We are not likely to meet the target of 5% for the next so many quarters, because your short-term expectation is 2.3, 2.4, maybe 3%, right? If it is 3% expectation, right? So then, if interest rates are 8.5%, still it is 5% plus your interest rate. Sorry, Dr. Veerakon has been raising her hand.
3% what we are expecting is to proceed that range. But when you look at the projection in the fan chart, it is after that it's going beyond 3% and reaching even above 5%.
Yeah, but the fan chart, I mean, we are looking at the other side, right? I mean, from an investor point of view, from growth, because the discussion we always have, Governor, before you come, is in the committee, is an ideological one. You know, why is the Treasury Secretary not here? You are independent. Now the issue is, you come to us every 4 months, but your answers to questions in Parliament, for instance, come to the Secretary Minister of Finance, to the Minister of Finance, right? So there is some sort of disconnect here. So let's keep that ideological discussion separately, because we want to have it at some point in time, right? But as members of Parliament, you know, as people in the Committee on Public Finance, we have some real issues that we need to resolve, right? So I'll give the microphone to Dr. Veerakon, and I would like to know who is this technical committee, who the technical committee that work on this model of inflation model. Who heads that committee?
It's set up by Director Research, is the head of the department. Within that, there is a modeling division. So these are the people working on the model. This has been developed for long period, what they call QPM. It's not the only model. I don't think we rely on 100% the model. The model is the guidance. Any projection, you can't rely 100% on the model. So, only the guidance, and then we apply our own judgments based on what we think.
Right. That's why I asked early, is it a trend line or is it a model? So when it's a model, there's a beta value to every factor that you put, plus or minus. Government reserves 2.3, government reserves 6.3, there's a plus or minus impact on the model. Then the explanation becomes much clearer next time to say last quarter we assumed 5 variables, global inflation to be this much, exchange rate to be this much, government fiscal rate to be this much, and we inputted 4 variables to the model, and the model gave us this projection. Now we are coming and explaining we are off the projection because the assumptions are off.
No, I think this detailed discussion, if you are interested, we can do. That is the same discussion we are having at the committee level.
Yeah.
No,
So
I
we
mean,
can
this
have
is-
that discussion. If
Yeah.
you are interested, we certainly can do that.
Yeah, no, this is good because, I mean, one of the things here we do is also for people to understand. Where people need to be able to make investment decisions for a longer period of time. What is inflation going to be? What are exchange rates going to be? So it is positive that we are having this sort of technical discussion. Why the law says that every member of the Monetary Policy Board must be present at this discussion is because we can ask those people also questions. So we are directing it to the Monetary Policy Board, not the governing board, but the Monetary Policy Board, who I believe are more technically competent to, I'm not saying the governing board is not, but Monetary Policy Board's job is that, only that, technical, isn't it? So I would like some comments as to why we are every quarter so far below our expectation or so far off our expectation.
Respond, try and respond. Let me qualify that. First is, if I just look at this as an economist and not from a monetary policy perspective per se, I think the context in which the inflation targeting framework and the targets were set, Sri Lanka went through a major systemic change of 70% inflation and then, squeezing that back in the course of a very short 2-year period. So when we also asked, when the model projections, we use it as a guide to tell us if we make this decision today, what would be the outcome in 12 months. So there is a 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. I think those scenario settings are there. We spent, I think, a day with the technical team at the central bank to try and understand what is behind this model. And I have, there is a problem of not even having data that will support the setting up of a model that is going to hit targets, because we are looking at relationships that over the last 20 odd years to calibrate this model. We are doing that in the context where we didn't have an inflation targeting framework, where monetary policy was very much more ad hoc. So I think every so often we get updates from the technical team to say that these weaknesses, they are recalibrating and re-examining those estimates that they're getting. They're getting technical assistance also from the IMF to do that. So I would say it is still work in progress. But in a situation where we tend to not have any kind of model or data, I think this is the best that we have, and Central Bank, I would commend them for having put the energy and time into developing this. So we have a situation where with 70% inflation, all of the upheaval, consumer behavior has also changed. And I think that's reflected also in what happened to vehicle imports. I don't think any of the estimates suggested that import demand will be actually twice what was estimated. So we don't have data on how the consumer basket has changed since 2019. So we are again...
That is not our fault.
I know. So what I'm trying to say is, with all of that changes that have happened, when we are looking at the supply side and the demand side, as Governor said, we have a better understanding of the demand side. And to that extent, to keep an eye on what will today's monetary policy decision have an impact on demand side inflation, because that is harder to rein in once it gets out of hand. The missing targets, and these are questions that we also look into. Why have we sort of kept shifting the goalpost, if you like? Some of it is supply side, but my sense is that the major large fluctuations that we've seen in the last 2 years that has disturbed this entire system is now settling. And once we see only 10-12% shifts in fuel pricing adjustments, we are not going to get these major differences between initial assumptions and actual outcomes. It is because we are still sort of adjusting to major changes that took place.
I am not willing to accept that,
Yeah,
Doctor.
are we here to listen?
Because just
we are listening to a credible, independent central bank, and are we here to just listen to some stories? We expect, the interest rate should be a base for resource allocation for future investments in the country. It's not targeting just inflation for today, which is off the mark for 6 times. I've been silent because these are the same things I reflected before, and I like it to come from my colleagues as well. But there's always going to be a monetary policy conflicting with the fiscal policy, and it is happening. Are you telling me we have got to be listening to this and saying you're all on a learning curve for us to be listening? We're also discerning members that want to contribute.
Just before you answer that question, because that's a broader issue, right? But I want to make 2 very clear points. And I agree with my colleague. This is no university or school. There is no time to learn. You have to learn fast. This is a country. This is an economy. Right? You can't say they're putting in a lot of time and effort. That's not good enough. We have to have research. Just 1 minute, right? And if that is happening because you are missing data, let's fix that. Tell us. Please do tell us. Where are you missing data from? If you don't have data from the consumer basket, from the Department of Census and Statistics, we will certainly tell them immediately. We will summon them here and ask them to share that data with you. There is no reason why you should come here and say we don't have the data. That is not acceptable. The third point is we have always commended you and we have always appreciated the fact that you brought inflation from 69.8% in September 22 to 0% in September 23.
So it's like it's a supply side that has done.
Right. No, but then you took up inflation, you took up the policy rates by 800 basis points. Right? You did what needed to have been done, immaterial of what the source was. Now, this is the interesting point, and this is the good discussion that we can have at some point. Even though, right, you knew there was there's a fair impact on inflation from supply side events, right? You still had only one tool that you could have used to bring inflation down, and that was interest rates. And you used it. You used it right. And then you brought it down, right? So now the question is, why is it that immaterial of what supply side may be, why can't you use the tool you have to bring it back? Now, obviously, that means you reduce interest rates. But if you reduce interest rates, what is going to then happen to your reserve building capacity, for instance, right? So there is a balance. Right? We understand that and we do appreciate that. However, to us, this looks like not a one-off thing. It looks like a systemic problem with your model.
Also, you mentioned quite forthrightly that the inflation was 70%. Okay, price stability is your main, the only activity that you have got to do. But where is the price that has come down with 70% inflation? Has come down, but your price is the same. the velocity in the increase of inflation are reduced. But where is the price stability? So I mean, that is the reason why you all are pointing the finger at the fiscal part of it or the supply part of it, where you are expecting why is the energy going up, why is it not coming down. Now even your expectation of inflation to go up is bent on the government increasing the electricity prices. That is what was given here. So that's the expectation which is completely outside your. So in that case, what is the independent role?
If I may respond, I think inflation and price level, everyone knows. Inflation
No,
and
we
price
like-
level are
no,
different
but that
things.
is- that is your
Price level
delivery.
is stable, inflation is increased
but
level
the
of increasing price level.
price stability
That is a
is
basic
also
thing.
not just bringing inflation down from 70 to 0. It is reducing the prices also must come down.
No, I don't think, no,
Don't need to be
I
telling
think
us about this. This is
must,
a real life
I think
situation.
this is not the, price stability is not the prices, bringing the prices down. I think that's a very basic thing I won't understand. I'm sure, Chairman, you understand it. Price stability is maintaining low and stable inflation over a period of time, stable basic. That is the basic fact. Everyone knows that. And also from the Chairman, your point, when you look at the interest rate policy, I think from the, again I repeat this, from the aggregate demand point of view, monetary policy is right at the right place, right balance, because economy is growing at 5%. Credit is flowing more than sufficient for economies to grow at this, because earlier after the crisis, baseline scenario was 3% growth. But now we are second consecutive year, this year also there will be 5% growth. That is the capacity that country can go based on the, even if you look at historical basis, the potential growth, I think historical data if you use, around 4.5%. We are growing at the potential now. That is where the interest rates are at right place on the aggregate demand point of view. But on the other side, other variables.
Just 1 minute. You're making a very pertinent point. Are you saying there is no gap now that we are growing at the potential?
Based on our estimate, yes, we are growing at the potential now.
Right.
That's why we think there's no room for us to reduce further.
That means given the particular interest rates.
Yeah.
But if you reduce interest rates, can it grow further?
It can go above the potential. That could create heating of the economy, and that could create other problems that we have seen several times in the past.
Yeah, but then overheating can't happen before it heats even the bottom of the target.
Is potential 4.5.
So we can go up to 7. I mean, I am not for a moment advocating high inflation. I'm not. Right? Don't take me wrong. Right? I mean, it is always better to have 2% inflation. I would rather you miss the target at the bottom end rather than missing the target at the top end. But the discussion here is not that. The discussion is whether you're getting the model, the ability to predict. That is the question.
Yeah, this is what this is point also. I think when you develop a model is something you input the historical data for 20 years.
See,
let me just.
I
think no. The point is not that data is not available. Data is available. There has been a structural change happening in the economy. So that for that to capture, you need to long time series data to model to predict. Okay, that's why we can't rely 100% on model.
No, that is my point also. I mean, there was a structural shift in 22, 23.
If the last 20 years is off the record, you go into closer models. You try to monitor it very quickly. You enter quarterly data, you enter monthly data, you enter daily data. That is how the models are built. Now the world is sophisticated in modeling things very quickly, fastly using data. It's in 80s, 90s, we used 20 years of data set and, trying to create models.
Honorable Minister, that's what we are doing, and I mean, if we are given a day, we can explain all this. This is exactly the discussion that, I mean, like Governor and Dr. Virukon said, this is the discussion that we are having at the Monetary Policy Board before making the monetary policy decisions every 2 months.
Yeah, but Deputy Governor, you have to get it right.
No, Honorable Minister, I think the point was that
we got it wrong.
The economy has changed, the structure has changed, but we are still relying on the country is relying on the 2019 basket for consumption. I think Honorable Minister also raised a pertinent point earlier.
Just on that point, Doctor,
yes.
Are you telling me you don't have the latest data from census? Even though it is
Minister,
not publicly
there is
available.
No, household income and expenditure survey conducted after 2019. We are relying on the 2019.
But that is
which
wrong, no?
pre-COVID,
But we have done one in
pre-crisis.
2024, no? Well, it should be available to you, no? Even though it is not available to the public.
No, they had just started to collect the new HIES.
No,
Yes.
Dr. Dushni, didn't they do a
Census.
HIS?
They finished the census.
HIS, when was the last HIS?
2019.
Isn't it worthwhile for you to do something on your own? Relying on, instead of doing it the DCS, those tests during Anila's time and all, you all did something. Now it is completely done by DCS. I am aware of that. But it is a very sad state of affairs here. To this committee, you are telling me that you are using data from 7 years ago. I am not willing to accept it, doctor. Because because inflation targeting is very important. It's important for decisions to be made.
Not to import, that's the only job they've got to do.
We agree, Honourable Chair, but the thing is, I mean, it's the international best practice that the inflation is computed by an external agency, not the central bank. I mean, it's not for us to, calculate inflation and target the same rate at the same time.
Well, I mean, let's not go there. I mean, we have trust in you. I mean, we are not asking you to manipulate.
I mean, that's why. That's why Governor.
Please, we have a lot more faith in you.
Yeah, Honourable Chair. That's why Governor said. I mean, we are aware of this fact that the consumption basket is probably obsolete, and that's why we are being very careful with what we are doing. So, I mean, like Governor said, credit is growing at a very fast pace, and also, I mean, in Sri Lanka, demand side is not reflected only in credit, but you have to consider the external side also. I mean, the demand pressures could be shown in demand on imports and other outflows as well.
Right. Is the inflation figure that is coming out truly reflective? If it's not, then you're using some outdated one, and our decisions are completely outdated. If exactly what you're saying.
No, Honourable Member, that's why we are keeping some leeway for that.
No, the member's question is valid, Deputy Governor. He is asking whether then is this the real inflation? Because you are looking at a basket of 2019.
2.1%. Even you said January it has come down from 2.4 to 2.1. Are we completely living in a fool's paradise? In the sense, because of outdated information.
What we are saying, these inflation figures are based on 2019 expenditure pattern of the Sri Lankan consumer.
Yeah, because I'm sympathetic towards you. There is nothing you can do about it. But the reality of the situation is the consumption patterns have changed in the last 7 years, particularly after 2022 structural shift in consumption. Right, people have gone to purchase lower quality stuff and various things to manage their cost of living. But I'm going to ask.
Chairman, one second. He is not being sympathetic to the central bank. It's to the people that are basically having judgment. The SMEs, the businesses, all are relying on this because we are looking at interest rates, creating an anti-inflationary approach. But we are looking, as I said, to look at this as long-term resource allocations for investments to be coming in, where the interest rate is a key factor.
No, long-term resource allocation is not a function of the central bank. I must tell you. That's not
but
objective.
interest rates have been determined by you all now.
We
so
determine.
If you all basically give a high interest rate, and if you in that case, who's going to grow this country?
No, this is the right interest rate based on the multiple stance.
Yeah, that is your
and economy is growing right, credit is growing right, demand is taking place at the right balance. So I don't see any problem with the current interest rate structure.
Okay,
that is the appropriate interest rate structure based on from the demand side. That's exactly what we see. That we can see clearly. The indicators of demand side is pretty much in line and consistent with our multiple stance and the interest structure.
Yeah, but then the interest rate, what we see obviously is expectation of inflation and the real interest rate, no. So if you really look at our competitor countries, Governor, in real interest rates are less than half of ours. Except for India, like I said, everybody else is below 2%. India is like 2.5%. We are 5.5%. Even if you look at expectation of inflation of 3% for the next, or 3.5% for the next foreseeable future 3-4 quarters, right? So if you are looking at being competitive in the region, I mean, is 6% real interest rate high or not? I think it's a valid question from our point of view, right? But before we go any further, the reason why we appointed people from outside to the central bank's monetary policy board, why we expanded this board, even though I didn't agree personally, you know, that this is too big of 12 people. I would like to get the views from those who are outside the central bank. I mean, why did we appoint you? We appointed you because you bring knowledge from the business world, you bring knowledge from other people, universities, right? I mean, this is not a blame game. This is a intellectual discussion as to whether we can better predict interest rates. Inflation rates, right? So in that context, I'm going to ask the professor. Yes, Mr. Ratnayaka.
Thank you, Chairman. I think, well, it's a good discussion, but I know this is a mostly technical. I think we need to, I can remember Honorable Chair himself, yourself mentioned that we need to have a proper discussion on the technical side. I think it is a very good thing to do, because to understand each other what methodologies are being used in central bank in modeling and also in arriving in inflation numbers. One thing, having said that, so what I'm suggesting is we need to have a proper discussion on that. Maybe in a different time, we give 1 hour or 2 hours or so, sit together and discuss all methodological issues. The reason is that even if in fact, I'm coming from an international experience also, working at United Nations for 15 years, and in fact, I work with number of central banks also. These are what I see. I was the chief economist there. So what I see is also these are some of the problems that all these, of course, what you are saying, very correct, of course. You want to see the real accurate numbers. But this is not new. Basically, it's all other countries, most other countries that we encountered, they have the same problem. So first thing I suggest is basically have a technical discussions on these various matters. Secondly, I want to say that, of course, you are right with this consumer commodity basket. You see this, as I can remember, if you take the basket itself, it is about 50%, 51% whatever. It is energy and transport, basically, if you take the whole basket. So it is not...
Food is about 35%.
No, together. I mean, energy and that, one somebody can check it. My recollection is that. But what that means is that it is the inflation targeting or levels that we have is highly influenced by that factor. Now we know that we raised that issue in different discussions also. The need to change that basket also. You are correct.
Mr. Ratnayaka, all that is agreed.
Yes.
If we are having an academic discussion in a university.
Exactly.
But it is not. This is a country. We are trying to run a country. Wait.
Yeah.
We are trying to run a country. We want this country to grow. We want growth to improve.
Correct.
We want poverty to reduce. Right? So all that discussion you have somewhere else. And then do what needs to be done after the discussion. Right? If you want to have further discussions, we are willing to do that.
Right.
And that is why we are engaging with you. Right? We are not fighting with you. We are all on the same page. Right? But what we are saying is this prediction has to be better. And I think we all agree. I think you also agree, we also agree. And we are also trying to understand how can we make it better. We are trying to get through to the Census Bureau and direct them to share the data, not with the public, at least with you, so that you have a better understanding of what people are spending. Dr. Veerakorn is shaking her head.
Because we also checked, Chairman, about the HIES, which was due in 2021. It's been delayed. So the last time we checked, we were told that end of this year, they will have the
Okay,
data.
right. I want Dr. Dunusingha also to, express his views on this discussion. What we can do.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. And I think I agree with the views expressed by our Monetary Policy Board members, Governing Board and the Deputy Governor. In that respect, it is important to understand that the forecast is based on, the forecasting model is constructed based on the rational expectation. Rational expectation in the sense you take past information as well as the information available at present. So that is generally the best practice elsewhere, where that you take both past and the present information in predicting the future. In that respect, it is very important to note that central bank over the years developed different models and then feed information into this QPM model and then try to predict. And along with that numbers, the committee members basically take into account other qualitative information as well in coming into basically the judgments. And comparing that say midpoint predicted some previous occasions at a given point is not a correct approach. It is like something that you look at from a long distance and then you look it like some object, but when you get closer and closer you tend to see it more clear. So in that respect, comparing that way and coming to a judgment is not the right way. And there are areas to improve certainly, but I think the present model, if we can discuss it in detail, you will get to see that the level of sophistication. Thank you, Chairman.
Like to get the views of Mr. Manil Jayasinghe and Mr. Vikramasinghe also. Anushka has sent a letter excusing himself.
Good afternoon, Chair. No, actually, I think as the governor and all the other monetary policy members mentioned, there is a lot of debate that goes into this whole process. Clearly, the calibration of the model is continuing over time, and that calibration will give us better, how should I say, information to make a decision. But one of the things I have seen even in the monetary board is this energy is a big issue in this whole model. Though in percentage wise you say that, because the quantum of the size of that adjustment, so you talk about 40%, 40% in that bar, but the size of some of those adjustments, like say for 20% or 30%, that has a big impact. So most of the time, what we had discussed is that where we were out of the expectation has been where there has been significant variation in our prediction of energy.
Yeah, Mr. Jayasinghe, let's say that it had a big impact last quarter, right? But you know very well that the electricity tariff is determined for the next quarter.
Yeah.
Right? It is for the next quarter. Next two quarters, next 6 months. So how can you be so much off?
So, Chairman, exactly the point you said, it is there for the future. So we are now trying to target the inflation going forward.
No, we are talking, you missed it six quarters.
No, I understand. So what I'm trying to explain is, when you look at the future, so if we miss a target for the future, it obviously will have an impact on our prediction.
Agree. I mean, whilst agreeing, so then in your model, the sensitivity in fuel is far higher than the demand side adjustment, the interest rate. Because the interest rate adjustment, the fuel beta is outweighing the rest of the combined betas of everything.
No, if I may add, that's an important point. So interest adjustment full impact will take full impact 12 to 18 months. Well, if you reduce today, it's immediate impact on the, that's a timing is a difference. So that's where the difficulty and also unexpected not increasing or increasing has immediate impact on the headline current inflation. Whereas the interest rates, if you look at this reduction of interest rates, that's why you see the credit is now picking up after almost 12, 18 months. That we can see that impact happening with a longer time lag. That's a different.
Because the thing is this, what you are saying today, in a technical discussion, this team should be able to explain to us 2.6 to 5%, that beta change came from an adjustment you did in fuel price, electricity prices. I am being very cautious here, asking the committee to be very,
that's not the only thing.
Try to put it into that context only, because...
I agree. This is because for the simplicity.
Because I am pretty sure mathematically it won't be able to prove it.
No, this is why we mentioned, that's why I agree with the suggestion that why don't we have a full session for you to understand what is going in, what are the factors, without having that understanding, just shooting in the dark. This is a key component. That's why we have been, for anyone, for us to explain simply to a public or anyone who don't have technical knowledge, because we use this significant component as the impact that we are seeing, people can understand.
No, for the moment, let's agree that it is, but what I'm trying to say is...
But when you look at the, as I said, the fiscal stimulus, that was different from what was expected. But still, when you factor that in, and if you see the demand side, I mean, I agree, I admit, if there is...
There's negatives and positives.
No, if there is an impact on the economy or the credit or the demand side, if that was different to what was expected, then obviously that's our fault.
Agree.
That's our fault, that we have to admit.
I think maybe then you should have two models, two lines. One is predicting the impact on inflation through the fiscal side. The other line is, one is predicting this through the demand side.
Interest rate, fiscal and
convergence is what the final outcome is, so it's quite easy for you to explain next time. This is what we predicted in the model. Sensitivity of the demand side is X plus this. Sensitivity of the supply side is Y plus this. So it's clear for everyone, okay, we got it wrong in the supply side.
Correct. So this is where I think even discussion at the board, I can say, the near-term inflation, 6-month inflation, if we can share with you, 6-month near-term projection clearly has the assumption on the petrol prices, electricity prices, even these gas prices, all are factored in. So that's easy to predict from current price levels to 6 months, knowing that much more certainty, as he said, you can see the near-term, you can see clear. That is much more accurate. But when you go beyond that, any change in next 6 months is not been, assumption has not been validated or realized, then it will basically have impact on the next 12 months also. Then our ability after 6 months, we have to reverse again that one. So this is where the model has, you can, when you have a detailed discussion, you can see the deviation from the short-term, near-term forecast, and also deviation from the medium to long-term forecast, and what are the factors that contributed to, say, demand side factors, interest rates, the fiscal side, and also the global demand, external side, the export demand, demand for imports. Those are the other factors. So each and every factor has a different impact on the kind of a timeline of how that's going to impact on the growth and the inflation.
But Chairman, up to now, are we basically being just listening to one side of it? Aren't these things that are the obvious that have not been carried out?
I mean,
clear the question.
If that is the case, it's a very sorry state.
No, I mean,
these are not to be told here. It should have been obviously coming to us.
No, I think that's why I said, if that has an impact on the growth or the demand, then obviously that's our fault. But we see it's right in line with what our expectations even 2 years ago. That's where we think our responsibility and our ability to influence overall demand, growth and inflation that has been in line. But there are other factors that is beyond our control. Some of the data issues are there. So that is where the deviation coming from.
Yeah, I think everybody has built credibility on the central bank over the past, few years, and all of us are trying to use the variables put out by the central bank. We are relying on it. So anybody to model their future in, say, for example, I'm giving you example, there's a debate on what should be the long-term energy agreement should be, right? And some are now determined on rupees. Some are determined on dollars. I'm talking about wind power and all this. And for all these models to fix that rate for 20 years to 15 years, the base assumption is what we are going to take from the projections the central bank produces. And for for the betterment of this country, our economy is now forecasting. In that forecast, exchange rate and inflation are two very critical ingredients that everybody will use. And this particular meeting, this video is what everybody watches. And there's a huge hit rate on this, right? So what we are trying to get at is, let's get the model, let's admit that we have off, and let's work to see how close we can get. If it's a 6 months prediction the central bank can give accurately, let's do that.
Yeah, I'm in agreement here because, it is difficult in a country like ours, and we just checked with the Director General. That's why I was on the phone. And she says, what did she say? What did exactly she say? Use the mic.
So what the DG essentially said was that they were hoping to do the HIAs in 2021 alongside the census. Of course, with COVID, they were not able to. So as a result, now with the 2024 census, they were hoping to start work, and that they're working on it to be released later this year. They had done some limited assessments of the impact of COVID as well as the economic crisis, but that's not.
So that means, Dr. Veerapan, she said that she's finished the data collection and she's now entering the data and so on. But is there no way that you can internally, but that's also not relevant, no? Because what people are seeing is what is out there. No? There's no point in doing something that is not visible to the public. So then that needs to be, if we haven't done a HIS for 7 years, that's a terrible situation. But let me ask you this question, because yes, we need to have low and predictable inflation. We all agree, Right. Then the next question is, do you believe, Governor, that 6%, 5.5% to 6% real interest rate, as it now stands, is too high? Do you agree or you don't agree?
No, real interest rates we are looking at from the point of view of future inflation that we expect versus current interest rates.
Yeah,
That's future. What we say 2.75 is the real interest rate gap. 2.75 is the reasonable gap that we see now. But if you look at current rate versus current inflation, that's a different story.
Yeah, so
I don't think, then from time to time the inflation is so much volatile that this real interest rates if you look at the last 2-3 years, real interest has been very volatile. You can't have a stable real interest rates when inflation is so volatile. So it's only the fact that for the forward-looking basis and predictability, if we agree with the government, right inflation for this country is 5%, then interest rates will have to be at least some positive real interest rates.
Sorry,
it has to be positive real interest rate, like in between. There's also a debate on neutral rate of interest. It's about, in any countries, for our country, it's like between 2 to 3%.
Yeah, because
right now 2.75.
Most countries that we are competing with is around 2%.
It's 2, and depending on the say, for example, inflation, lower targeting inflation, so 2% like advanced countries. There is even sometimes, say, actual inflation and interest rates are sometimes even lower.
No, I'm talking India, Pakistan.
India,
not Pakistan. Pakistan is not.
Pakistan is not. India is obviously
2.5% in India.
Yeah, 2.5%. We have 2.75.
No, no, we don't have 2.75. No, that is if we expect inflation, now it is 8.3, right? That is for the next 12 months.
No, the chairman, I mean, then can we basically make monetary policy decision based on current inflation? So then obviously what to say, our interest rate is too high, so we should be reducing interest rates further. I mean,
so that is the question. That is the question. That is the question.
No, this is the question. I mean, I don't think, we don't see interest rates should be reduced now, given all the other demand side indicators are quite in line with the potential growth.
Strangulating the economy. This is exactly what I've been telling for the last 1.5 years.
Right. So that discussion cannot take place now because it's 5 o'clock. We said it's going to be 5 o'clock. And I think we all have sort of converged that we have to have a discussion, technical discussion, to see how we are going to improve this predictability of inflation. We all agree. Do you agree with us?
Yes. Both supply and demand.
That we certainly agree. So
Right,
I
right.
think predictability and projectioning, inflation projection and any other project, like inflation projection is the most difficult one, as quite rightly Dr. Dushni Veerakon explained the reasons. And also the fact that we are relying on the 7 years ago, the consumption basket. So I think these are the gaps and weaknesses right now we have to work with. But important one for the economy is that whether economy is not growing at the right place, the credit is not flowing into the economy at the right place, and also whether the exchange rate is depreciating too much or stable, and whether imports and exports are doing reasonably well, and we are earning foreign exchange sufficiently for us to build our resource. If you answer all those questions, I think we are at the right place. This is what is important for the country. That's what our decisions are based on, the outcomes that have an impact on the economy. Not necessarily the inflation, 5%, we missed that, it began 2% or at some point 7%. It is a numerical something. But what's important is the impact of the monetary policy on the economy. From our side, this is right. Monetary policy stance. It has given good results, both bringing inflation on 70% to 0, and then right now coming around below than the target, obviously we admit, but relatively low and stable inflation, economy is growing, right, and currency is stable, we are building our resource, and these imports, exports and earnings are right. So that is the kind of a KPI and outcome if you want interest in the economy, impact of the economy.
Has this information that you just revealed been communicated that you're going on the 2019 basket of commodities and that has not been rectified, or that there is a lacuna in the information? Has it been communicated to anybody?
It has been discussed several times. We have discussion with the Minister of Finance, the Coordination Council, and also
has it been communicated?
We have been discussing.
Has it been communicated? We would like to get to know whether there is a mismatch between the communication and the delivery to that.
No, this Department of Census and Statistics and our Statistics Department have a regular communication every time when the issue of inflation, and the issue of GDP number, we always have this communication and discussion, and also we understand what they explain. Because of the COVID they could not do, because they didn't have sufficient resources to conduct all this surveys and this thing, and all these are the explanations that we are getting from the Department of Census why they could not do this on time, why they have been waiting for 7 years to complete this.
But today the world has developed so fast that you don't need the same time span that was required then.
So that is
my question is what
that is under the authority of Minister of Finance.
Mentioned, it has been communicated that this is a serious lacuna.
Department DCS is giving its full attention to.
No, not the department. You all as a responsible central bank, have you communicated this? Which you just revealed to us now?
No, they have communicated to the relevant party.
Relevant party, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking a word from you all whether they have been communicated. Because otherwise, when it goes out from here, nobody said, nobody told anybody.
No,
so I would like the...
No, I can confirm from our Statistics Department and the Department of Census, we have regular communication. We have been discussing this all the time.
So it has not been written or anything like that, because this is a fundamental thing where we are off the mark on information. So it has not been communicated to the extent that you are telling us now. You said that's made the thing and we are totally agree. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The data gap If we are living, I mean, if we didn't bring this up, it would have been still going on. No? So the revelation by you, has it not been told that we are in an antiquated 219 information that we are living on? That's what I'm asking, has been communicated. Yes.
Honourable Member, as you said, this is a fundamental thing, and I think the understanding all around the world is every 5 years at least this has to be done. The consumption basket has to be updated. So that's general knowledge, Honourable Member, and
No, it's
I
not
think
the
there
general
is no,
knowledge.
no
I
need
totally
for...
agree. But I'm asking whether it has been communicated. That is what will finally come back and say, nobody told us. That's the way things are going on. That's why I like to know, when you are revealed like this, whether it has been communicated. Obviously it hasn't, but it has got revealed now.
Okay, Honourable Minister, you wanted a question because
I
we are
have
gonna...
two quick questions.
Yeah.
This is something that, thank you for the analysis on the credit distribution. I think last time we asked for it and you have shared it. Just to get a view from you, the credit spread, it shows that the personal loans, advances and service sector is counting for about 63%. And the industry is only consuming about 37%. Is this in line with the growth expectations of a country in general? I know it's not probably in the purview of central bank to look at the growth trajectory at that light. That is the spread on the total loan portfolio, and SMEs are only getting about 20% of the total credit at this point. So these two numbers, Governor, in your view, are we there, or should we do something different? Should we push from fiscal side?
Yeah.
Something?
Honourable Minister, let me propose this to you. There are two issues. I'm just taking a housekeeping matter here. You're supposed to come and see us and have a chat every 4 months. And that is to discuss the functions of the central bank, which is this presentation. Now, part of that is the inflation story. Now, we discussed the inflation story. Inflation story, you have to come to us only if you miss the target. So you missed the target, so you came. We had a very productive discussion. Now, we said we will stop at 5. We have, after 2 things we plan to achieve today, we achieved 1. That is the deviation of the headline inflation. We'll tick that off. But we have a lot more. No. So what I'm saying is, so that we tick that. Yeah, no, we can tick that off for the purposes of you having come and done that, right? We have further questions, but then that doesn't mean that we don't tick it off. They've explained to us. Necessarily, we haven't agreed with everything they have said, but that's okay, right? That's how it works. But the second point is functions of the central bank. So Honourable Minister's question is about credit distribution and all that, and those are very important, and I don't want to rush it in the next 5 minutes. So what we said is we'll take a call at 5 o'clock. So let's take that call at 5 o'clock, right? Because we have lot more to discuss and debate here. And also, let's take into consideration what the Governor mentioned, what Dr. Ratnayak and many others here agreed with, that we'll have a longer session on a technical basis on how this is done, right? So we'll allocate about 4 hours, like a half a day session, right? We'll have a half a day session, and we don't need everyone to come, right? We can have only the relevant people to come here.
The research team.
Research team, and then the members of the policy board who are sort of directly interacting, supporting the technical team. And then for legal matters, we have to have the 4-month meeting. So if you are willing, we can then do that. So then we can go into the technical matters, further technical matters, and then the credit and other issues.
This is for the technical meeting or for the
there are 2
continuation
things, Mr. Fonseca. Yeah. There are 2 things. Our committee has been deliberating for a long period of time now. The issues with relation to the independent central bank and the connection with the treasury, because it is the minister of finance or the deputy minister or the other deputy minister who communicates in the house what you communicate to him. So when members ask questions, there is no central bank there to answer. If you ask the treasury minister, he will say, look, this is what I have. Sometimes they may go into some explanation, but there isn't the necessary debate that happens, that should happen. This is the only place that it can happen. And many members have brought the issue that we should have a discussion with also Dr. Harshana Suryaparuma and Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, both, to try and see whether we can resolve this matter. Right? Even before you came, one reason we got delayed was we had that discussion here. Right? So I'm being open here, right? So all the members are in favor of that, to have that discussion. So whether you want to do that prior to this meeting that we are planning, whether you want to do it together with that meeting. Honorable Karunayaka is insisting that we have that meeting before we have this one.
So we are fine with anything. If ST is willing to come, and then if we can, we are okay. I think obviously we welcome ST. Obviously in the Central Bank Act, we have a compulsory, mandatory, once in 3 months coordinating council meeting when we are discussing all these things between the Minister of Finance and us. That is happening once in every 3 months, and sometimes even earlier there are issues. And even more regular basis, we have a lot of communication with the SC and us.
See, that happens outside of this committee.
Yeah, correct.
And so therefore, I want to give the opportunity to all members of this committee to once and for all have that discussion. Right? Then we are clear, no?
We are perfectly fine with that.
Okay. That is a meeting with the Secretary Treasury, Honorable Anil Jayanta, Honorable Samaravira. That's it, no?
And the treasury.
Yeah, and the treasury people. So we are not expecting everybody from the central bank to be here for that meeting. That we can decide who needs to be here. So that will be the bigger discussion, right? Because I'm only the chairman of this oversight committee. I'm not part of the government. So it is a government's responsibility if they want to change any policy and all that. If they want to change the law, that's the government's job to change the law, not our job, right? But as a chairman, I think it is important that we hear everyone so that all members are sort of satisfied. And then we can continue the discussion on what is legally supposed to happen on the functions of the central bank subsequent to that. Or we can finish that meeting and the same day we can have too long. Right, okay.
So, Honorable Chairman, if you can, what is exactly the agenda? What are the items that we are supposed to discuss with the Minister of Finance and us?
Yeah, so Minister of Finance is not a technical discussion. It's a sort of a policy discussion, right? And because the issue is, lots of people here, members ask, the objective of us, is to make sure that this country's economy grows and all of that, right? And is a central bank supportive of that? Does the law prevent you from being supportive of the government's intention of increasing growth, reducing poverty, all these things that matter to all politicians of immaterial or the political parties, right? So that's a policy discussion. Why did we do this? Is this right? What are the experiences of other countries? Is this good or bad? So there is no technical stuff. It's more of a discussion debate. That's the agenda for the 17th, right? And then the next day is the legal requirement for you to discuss the functions. And in that,
of this meeting. Continuation of this meeting.
well, not this meeting. This meeting is done. Because this meeting is no,
Second part.
Second part.
Yeah.
Second part of this meeting.
Second part of this meeting.
Are you going to fix date for that as well?
Yeah, statutory requirement is the second part of this meeting. Right. So then we will approve the report on the headline inflation. No, we have to submit it to Parliament. Yeah, we have to. I mean, we are approving in the sense, I mean, the observations have been made. I mean, there is nothing.
Receive the report.
We have received the report. We have received the report. That's what it is. No, we have only say we have received.
There is no need, I mean.
Let it be whatever the principal part, rather than discuss it.
Okay.
Right. I mean, we will certainly say.
We can submit.
No, we will submit it. I mean, it is.
It is a legal
No,
requirement.
I mean, we have made observations here, no?
Yeah.
We will make those
It doesn't
observations.
necessarily
in
the
the
committee
submission.
to approve or not.
There is nothing to approve. You have received the
We are
report.
submitting it to the parliament.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can make reservations, that's why.
yeah, that's fine. Right.
So another thing, on Jan 17th, you don't need board members, right? It's only myself, ST, and our officers.
I mean, whoever wants, I mean, whoever is relevant, I mean, we don't need the entire contingent
Okay,
on the
so
17th.
We will invite some members. Yeah.
Yes, whoever you
It
think
is
is.
more of like an open debate on this ambiguity of, what we are doing is right or wrong as a country. I
Okay.
mean, it's not to find faults at anybody, it's to
Right.
understand how the other developing countries have done. Is it the role only confined to inflation?
Right.
How do we work together with, fiscal and the monetary? So that
Sure.
kind of.
Yeah, and also I don't think it need not be open to the public. It's
Yeah.
just a closed door meeting.
Just for knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's a good topic to discuss. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Governor. Thank you very much, members of the board. Thank you, all the officers. Yeah, yeah. We have no other matters. We are adjourned.
AsianMirror.lk